I fell down the stairs with the young lady of the Shang family. I was in a coma for 3 days and 3 nights, but during the entire time I was in a coma, her parents never once came to see her. Instead, they stayed by my bedside without leaving for a moment, taking meticulous care of me, even completely forgetting that Shang Xinqi is their own flesh and blood, and I'm just an adopted son with no blood relation. It wasn't until Shang Xinqi, with tears in her eyes, questioned them about who their real child was, that her parents showed not a hint of guilt on their faces. Instead, they berated her harshly. That was when I realized I had transmigrated into the body of the fake young master villain in a novel. In the original plot, the Shang family's favoritism towards men and disdain for women eventually forced Shang Xinqi to turn evil, and she teamed up with the protagonist to bring the Shang family to ruin. To continue living the luxurious life of a rich young master, I immediately decided, if you want dote on my sister, then I will. At this moment, my gaze turned towards the door. Shang Xinqi's thin and frail body was trembling non-stop. The original host, because she was reunited with her family, had his status as an adopted son exposed. He grew resentful in his heart and found every way to torment her. Before the coma, he had forced Shang Xinqi to scrub the villa's 108-step staircase, but as he was passing by her, he intentionally pulled her down with him. He originally intended to use a self-inflicted injury ploy to drive her out of the house, but unexpectedly, he ended up harming himself, which led to my soul transmigrating here. Sensing my gaze, Father Shang Ziguo and Mother Yang Huifeng also turned their heads to look at the door. The moment they caught sight of Shang Xinqi, both of their expressions turned ice cold. "Are the manners you learned from our Shang family to hide by the door and eavesdrop?" Yang Huifeng frowned and glared at her. "You harmed your brother and put him in the state, so why don't you hurry up and get in here, kneel and apologize?" Shang Xinqi carefully stepped into the house and softly called out, "Father, Mother." Yang Huifeng cut her off with a cold laugh. "Don't call us father and mother. You jinx, if it weren't for you, would Xiaoming have fallen down the stairs? I see that you're just black-hearted and intentionally harmed him." Shang Ziguo also chimed in with a deep voice. "Although you are our biological daughter, you're still a country bumpkin who grew up in the countryside. After you receive the family punishment, have Lao Liu take you back to the countryside." Shang Xinqi stared at them, her eyes red with grievance. "Father, Mother, am I really your biological daughter?" "I fell that day too." Yang Huifeng snorted through her nose. "You brought that upon yourself. I don't know how your adoptive parents raised you to be so scheming at such a young age. If it weren't for the fact that you're our biological daughter daring to harm Xiaoming like this, you wouldn't have a peaceful day for the rest of your life." After hearing this, Shang Xinqi sniffled, suddenly turned her head and glared at me and gritted her teeth. "Are you satisfied now? I'm being kicked out of the house? Are you finally satisfied now?" "Shut up!" Yang Huifeng shouted angrily. "It's clearly you jinx, who dares to bite back and slander Xiaoming." She raised her hand, about to slap Shang Xinqi across the face. The original plot quickly flashed through my mind. If this slap landed, it would directly sever her relationship with the Shang family, and this would also be the beginning of her descent into villainy. Shang Xinqi's adoptive parents had passed away, and the house they left behind was seized by relatives. As soon as she returned to the countryside, she was kicked out. Those people even declared that if she didn't leave, they would marry her off to the village chief's foolish son. So for a very long time after that, Shang Xinqi slept under a dark bridge and was occasionally bullied by other beggars. From then on, she secretly swore that she would definitely bring the Shang family to ruin. Following a crisp slapping sound, Shang Xinqi squeezed her eyes shut in fear, but the expected pain never came. She only felt herself being pulled into a warm embrace. Yang Huifeng hurriedly called out, "Xiaoming, are you okay?" "I didn't mean it." Yang Huifeng was flustered and panicking. She really didn't expect I would rush out and shield Shang Xinqi with my own body. She hurriedly waved her hands. "It's all my fault. I know you love your sister, but she caused you to fall and end up like this. Why are you still protecting her like this?" I grimaced in pain, but still managed to put on a pained expression and turned my head to pretend to be angry at Shang Ziguo. "Dad, how do you normally take care of Mom? She's so weak she can't even hit hard. It didn't hurt at all." Shang Ziguo was stunned, wondering why he was being dragged into this. I took the opportunity to explain. "Dad, Mom, actually that day I thought the stairs were dirty and suddenly wanted to clean them myself. Xinqi was just kindly helping me, so don't be angry anymore. My sister had such a hard time coming home. How can you send her back to the countryside? Besides, if anyone should leave, it should be me. I've taken over my sister's life for over 10 years. Your love was originally meant for her." Hearing this, Yang Huifeng slammed the table in anger. "No, you're not going anywhere. You are my real son. Regardless of blood ties, in this life I only acknowledge you. But Xiaoming has really grown up, taking the initiative to clean the house. So well behaved." Shang Ziguo sighed and nodded. "Xiaoming, no matter what, you will always be my real son. Since you've said so, then we'll let her stay for now." He turned his head and gave Shang Xinqi a cold glance. "Don't forget that you are able to stay in the Shang family because of whom. If Xiaoming gets hurt because of you again, get back to the countryside immediately." After seeing my parents off, I realized that Shang Xinqi was still nestled in my arms. I quickly let go and looked this future villainess up and down. At 17, she had a small frame, so thin it looked like a gust of wind could knock her over. Her hair was a mess, with bangs covering half of her face. A tattered, thin uniform clung to her body, and she exuded an air of gloom. Looking back at myself, even a casual set of pajamas was soft and breathable, reeking of money. I couldn't resist brushing her bangs aside. Her forehead was fair, and her skin was so delicate it looked like it would break with a pinch. Truly the pinnacle of beauty. Shang Xinqi sensed my gaze and hurriedly took 2 steps back, a flash of disgust in her eyes. Don't think that just because you helped me today, I have to be grateful to you. That day, it was clearly you who forced me to clean the stairs, and you even intentionally bumped into me. That's what made me fall. I raised an eyebrow and chuckled. In any case, I saved you today. You have to repay me. Otherwise, I'll go tell our parents. What does the original host bullying her have to do with me? I haven't even enjoyed the life of a rich young master for a few days, and I've already been slapped. I'll use this opportunity to demand repayment for my favor and smooth over my relationship with this future villainess. In the original plot, she suffered a lot of abuse at her adoptive parents' home, having to do farm work since she was 3 years old, and was even almost sold off twice. If not for her good grades, which earned her the protection of teachers and the principal, plus her poor health, being sickly all year round, with this face alone, she would have long been bought to be a child bride. Shang Xinqi clenched her fists, then helplessly released them. Now that her adoptive parents were dead, she had no one to rely on. Coming to the Shang family, although she was treated coldly, at least she had a place to stay, allowing her to study in peace and repay the principal and teachers who had taken care of her. She gritted her teeth and asked with a frown, "What do you want me to do?" I grinned widely. "Then today you'll be my lackey for a day and obediently follow my arrangements." Shang Xinqi frowned, silently guessing in her heart what new wicked trick I was planning to humiliate her, but she had no room to bargain and could only suppress her anger and nod stiffly. Seeing this, I clapped my hands immediately. "Then go get ready first. I'm going to change my clothes." I stood up and walked into the dressing room. As soon as I pushed the door open, I was stunned on the spot. This wasn't a dressing room. It was clearly a villa over 200 square meters. Rows of the latest seasonal clothing samples were hung on racks, organized by color. Men's necklaces and watches were neatly arranged in cabinets. The clothes felt extremely exquisite to the touch. I thought to myself, for the sake of these precious items, I must raise Shang Xinqi to be a sister who is well-rounded in virtue, intellect, physique, aesthetics, and labor. I chose the most handsome outfit to wear, then picked a 24K diamond-studded watch from the pile of designer watches and put it on. Only then did I walk out of the room, satisfied. Shang Xinqi was sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall. I was a little confused. "You're not changing?" She pressed her lips tightly together and shot me a glare. Seeing this, I scratched my head awkwardly. I remembered that when she first came home, our parents had bought her a few sets of clothes, but the original host felt that the attention he received was being divided, so he sulked for a long time, took back everything that was given to Shang Xinqi, and even burned them in the yard in front of our parents. Thinking about these things, without another word, I grabbed her by the wrist and pulled her along. "I'll take you to buy some clothes first." Arriving at the underground garage, a row of luxury cars was parked neatly. I walked up to the familiar Lamborghini and tried to sound calm as I said, "Get in the car." In the car, Shang Xinqi sat with her back straight, only daring to sit on a corner of the seat. She still remembered the last time she rode in my car. I had given her a disgusted look and even said she had dirtied the car. After that car never appeared in the garage again. I frowned slightly, gently pushed Shang Xinqi into the seat, and helped her buckle her seatbelt. Shang Xinqi was about to struggle, but seeing that I didn't make any other moves, she sat still obediently. I have to say, the air conditioning in a top-tier supercar isn't that great, especially in a traffic jam. I put on my sunglasses, rolled down the car window, and let the outside breeze blow in. The wind carried the admiring gazes of passers-by. Someone exclaimed in surprise, "What kind of car is this?" So cool, a girl even blew a kiss towards the car window and slipped a piece of paper with her phone number through the gap. The corners of my mouth under my sunglasses couldn't help but curve up. Shang Xinqi stole a glance at me, and seeing that I wasn't paying attention to her, she secretly touched the seatbelt and the seat, then curiously touched the car door. This was the first time she had been in this type of car, her eyes filled with novelty. Her movements were a bit forceful, and she turned her head to look at me. She found that I was still looking straight ahead, but she still felt uneasy, and for some reason, she reached out and pushed up my sunglasses. The next second, she met my staring gaze, with a slight smile still on my lips. Her face flushed red, and she quickly pulled her hand back. Sorry. I'll definitely wash the car clean when we get home." I laughed and ruffled her hair, making it even messier. "No need. This time we're even. Shang Xinqi's heart was in turmoil. She always felt that I had changed since waking up. Otherwise, why would I have taken that slap for her and even let her ride in my car? But when she thought of my terrible behavior in the past, treating her well now, she was afraid I was brewing an even more vicious scheme. She patted her face, warning herself to stay highly focused. The day was still long. She absolutely could not let my conspiracy succeed. Following the memories in my head, I took her to a hair salon. The original host often got his haircut here. This salon had styled quite a few celebrities. Their skills were definitely top-notch. Pushing the door open, a service staff member approached. "Welcome. Do you two have an appointment?" I was taken aback. The concept of an appointment didn't exist in my mind. The original host was always personally received by the salon owner. I frowned at the staff member. "Your salon requires an appointment? How come I didn't know? Get your owner out here." After speaking, I pulled Shang Xinqi further into the salon, but the staff member blocked our way, looking me up and down and sneered, scoffing. "A nouveau riche like you, what rules would you know? Look at that cheap gold watch of yours. I bet it would float if you threw it in water, right? Let me tell you, our owner exclusively serves the Shang family of Jiangcheng. With just one word from them, your whole family would have to go begging." Hearing this, I was a bit flustered. After all, this was my first time getting revenge, so I had no experience. I had put on all the gold rings, gold necklaces, and gold watches from my room, and even wore a black bag, looking exactly like a nouveau riche. The staff member then glanced at Shang Xinqi, his eyes full of disgust. "This little sister here doesn't have any self-respect, does she? Likes to bring shame to her school. This kid obviously has no money. How about you come with me instead?" As soon as these words were spoken, passers-by all turned to look. Some whispered among themselves, "This girl is so young and already doing that kind of thing. She's even wearing the uniform of number 1 high school. How can a top school have this kind of person?" The sounds were not concealed at all, going straight into one's ears. Shang Xinqi lowered her head, her long hair covering her face, her body shrinking back, her eyes so red it looked like they were about to bleed. She glared at me with hatred, thinking to herself, no wonder he dressed so outrageously today and treated her so gently. It turns out he had dug a pit waiting for me here, specifically to humiliate her in public. If this blows up, the school's reputation will be damaged and she probably won't even be able to go to school anymore. She couldn't hold it in any longer and screamed in despair, "Are you satisfied now? Please let me go. From now on, I will never fight with you for our parents. Can I just leave? I'll pack my things when I get home. You can all just pretend you never found me." Her heart was as sour as if it were soaked in vinegar. Whether at her adoptive parents' home or her biological parents' home, no one had ever truly loved her. All she wanted was a little bit of warmth. Hearing these words, my heart felt like it was being pierced by 1,000 needles. I turned around, glared at the snobbish employee, and roared, "With such a foul mouth, making things up and starting trouble, who gave you the guts?" My blood boiled. I kicked him in the stomach and punched him hard in the face. Shang Xinqi stared blankly at this scene, stunned. She didn't expect that not only did I not take advantage of the situation, but I even stood up for her. Could it really be a misunderstanding? As her thoughts were wandering, the commotion outside alerted those inside the salon. A group of hairstylists rushed out, shouting, "Who dares to cause trouble at our shop's entrance?" Everyone immediately surrounded us. The scene was chaotic. I didn't care. My fists just kept raining down on the employee. But in the end, I was outnumbered, and my hands were held tightly by several hairstylists. That waiter spat on the ground and said smugly, "Kid, you've got some nerve, huh? Daring to hit me." A punch landed on my stomach, and I just felt a sharp pain. My throat choked up. I spat a wad of phlegm in his face. He wiped his face and cursed loudly. "You still dare to fight back? Drag him to the bathroom and deal with him." Before he finished speaking, the owner rushed out and slapped the lead employee across the face. "Who gave you the damn nerve to touch him? Hurry up and let go of the young master of the Shang family." The waiter held his swollen face, his eyes filled with astonishment. "Brother-in-law, are you mistaken? This guy is dressed like a nouveau riche. How could he be the young master of the Shang group?" I let out a cold laugh. "Do I need your salon's permission for what I like to wear?" The owner quickly tried to smooth things over with a smile. "Of course not, young master. It's our staff who were blind and offended you." As soon as the owner spoke, the faces of the surrounding hairstylists turned pale, and they bowed in unison. "We're sorry, young master. We didn't know anything. It was all his instigation. If we had known your identity earlier, we wouldn't have dared to lay a hand on you even if it meant death." I snorted. "So what you mean is, you can bully ordinary people as you please, is that right?" As soon as these words were spoken, the hairstylist broke out in a cold sweat and looked at the owner with pleading eyes. The owner followed my gaze and glanced at the shop and let out a sigh. He had been working his way up in Jiangcheng for over 10 years and had painstakingly built a small reputation. Today it was all ruined by this bunch of idiots. "Young Master Shang, this is a small token of my sincerity. Today it was due to my poor management that they offended you. Please be magnanimous." The owner bowed and scraped and presented a card while making a 1 sign with his other hand. I was stunned, thinking that I could extort 1 million yuan just by taking a punch. Without much thought, I quickly stuffed the card into my pocket, afraid he would change his mind. If I exchanged all this money for gold and stored it, even if the Shang family went bankrupt, I wouldn't have to worry about not having money to spend. But the next second, I suddenly realized Shang Xinqi had disappeared. I snapped my head up, my gaze pierced through the crowd, searching for her everywhere. It turned out she was hiding by the shop's entrance. When the group of hairstylists rushed out, she was afraid I would be at a disadvantage, so she ran in to call the owner. Now that the storm had passed, she was awkwardly cowering by the door. I ran over, scratching my head awkwardly. If I said this wasn't intentional, would you believe me? Shang Xinqi looked at me deeply. Although today's incident was an accident, the videos and rumors have already spread, and it's beyond saving. She tiredly uttered a sentence. I'm tired, can you take me home? I shook my head and refused. No, today isn't over yet. I also got you misunderstood. I have to compensate you properly. After speaking, I glared at those employees again. If it weren't for these bastards, I would have had a good relationship with Shang Xinqi by now. Not giving her a chance to object, I pulled her by the hand to another hair salon. As soon as we stepped in, a receptionist in a white shirt and a form-fitting skirt warmly welcomed us. Hello, handsome, hello, pretty lady. Do you two have a preferred hairstylist? Shang Xinqi glanced at me and whispered, Is getting a haircut here very expensive? The receptionist smiled and handed over a price list. Pretty lady, please take a look. Shang Xinqi took it, her face flushing red. The cheapest option, the technical director, was 119 yuan, while the owner's cut was 499 yuan. Just a haircut was that much? Adding treatment and styling? It wouldn't be less than 1,000 yuan. She stood on her tiptoes and whispered in my ear, How about we go to another salon? I usually get my haircut on the roadside for only 15 yuan. I glanced at the price list, not expecting a haircut to be so expensive, but on second thought, I am the top young master in Zhongcheng. I just got into a fight and even earned 5 million yuan. Immediately grinned widely. Cutting your hair. Here's not a problem. Just call me brother. I'll get you a membership card. How about that? After hearing these words, Shang Xinqi's cheeks grew hot and flushed red. She gritted her teeth, turned around and was about to leave. This jerk always bullies her, and he still wants me to call him brother. But right at this moment, a sweet and gentle brother was heard in the barber shop. The girl at the reception desk bit her lip and leaned in close. Brother, you just agreed with your own mouth that you would get a membership card for your little sister? You can't go back on your word. I was stunned for a moment, then raised an eyebrow and smiled at her. Arranged the most premium package for her, and styling too. Everything should be done to the highest standard. Not long after, Shang Xinqi finished getting a neat short haircut. The thick hair no longer hid her beautiful face. Her whole person looked beautiful, proud, and free-spirited. I nodded in satisfaction and stuffed the preloaded membership card into her hand. Come here for haircuts from now on. You can also call me to take you. Shang Xinqi pursed her lips, looking down and staring at the black and gold card. A strange, tingling feeling rose in her heart. She thought to herself, if he doesn't bully me anymore in the future, calling this bad guy brother might not be impossible. Leaving the barbershop, I pulled Shang Xinqi straight to a clothing store. She was already in the 11th grade, but she was still wearing an old middle school uniform. Right at this moment, a young girl walked over. Xinqi, is that you? Shang Xinqi turned her head and exclaimed in surprise, Sister Xiaoyue, why are you here? She turned her head to me and introduced. Her name is Liu Xiaoyue. She was my senior in middle school. Now she also studies at Zhongcheng High School. As soon as the words left her mouth, she froze. Seeming to wonder why she was introducing her friend to me, I smiled and sized up Liu Xiaoyue. Her beauty was not inferior to Shang Xinqi's. She was wearing a white shirt, but the material was so thin that the old-fashioned bra underneath was faintly visible. Sensing my gaze, Shang Xinqi took a step to shield Liu Xiaoyue and glared at me warningly. Don't you dare have any ideas about my senior? Liu Xiaoyue nodded at me and pulled Shang Xinqi's hand, asking curiously, Is this handsome guy your boyfriend? I didn't expect you, little one, to have reached the age of romance. Shang Xinqi's face flushed red. He's not my boyfriend, but she didn't know how to explain this relationship. Seeing that Liu Xiaoyue didn't believe her, she quickly changed the subject. Sister, aren't you working part-time at school? Why did you come all the way here? Liu Xiaoyue sighed. Isn't it to earn living expenses and university tuition? She couldn't help but complain. You have no idea. These clothes are terribly expensive. You two aren't actually here to buy something, are you? Shang Xinqi stole a glance at me and nodded gently. Just buying one set? Liu Xiaoyue raised her eyebrows. Then let me show you two around the shop. She looked around and saw no one and whispered to me, It's okay if you don't buy anything. The price of one set of clothes here can buy you several sets outside. After speaking, she walked up to me and smiled lightly. Let me borrow your girlfriend for a bit. I scratched my head shyly. If I said she's my sister, would you believe me? Liu Xiaoyue nodded, smiling like an ant. I get it. You two are siblings. I sighed softly, too lazy to explain. Under her recommendation, Shang Xinqi changed into a short, black, strapless dress. Her cold, proud aura combined with this outfit made her look just like an elegant black swan. I found myself staring blankly, Liu Xiaoyue teased. I told you this outfit would definitely suit you. Even your boyfriend is mesmerized. Shang Xinqi felt my gaze, and her face flushed red with shyness. After teasing her, Liu Xiaoyue turned to pick out other clothes. After she had walked away, I looked at Shang Xinqi curiously. Are you two best friends? Shang Xinqi nodded hastily. At my foster parents' house, I was always starving. Sister Xiao Yue always brought me delicious food and often helped me catch up on my studies too. She paused for a moment, hesitated for a bit, then still spoke up. But I heard the boss here often withholds her salary. Can we help her? Can you call me brother? I raised my eyebrows and smiled without a second thought. She decisively called me brother. I pondered for a moment. Her grades are so good, just have her tutor me in the future. After Shang Xinqi heard this, her expression was a bit strange. She looked me up and down a few times. You're not planning to bully Sister Xiao Yue, are you? I raised my hand and flicked her on the forehead. Why is this little girl always thinking about such random things? Seeing her reaction, Liu Xiaoyue is extraordinarily important to her in case she turns evil later on. Maybe she'll remember our old friendship and leave me a few $100 million for my retirement. Thinking of this, I already had a plan. Xinqi, tell her the situation first. Don't work here anymore. As soon as Shang Xinqi said it, Liu Xiaoyue nodded in agreement without a second thought. Looking at the clock, it was already noon. I took them to a Western restaurant. The waiter brought the menu. It was all in English. It was dazzling to look at. I glanced at it and was a bit dazed. What do you two want to eat? It'll go with whatever you two choose. Shang Xinqi and Liu Xiaoyue held the menu, flipping it back and forth, occasionally stealing a glance at me. The price of every dish on the menu was terrifying. Even the simplest ones were over 1,000 yuan. The two of them had never eaten anything so expensive. Suddenly, they spotted a steak priced at 50 and quickly told the waiter, "We'd like 2 portions of this steak." The waiter nodded and turned to me. "Sir, have you decided yet?" I grinned widely. "Me too. Just get what they ordered." Not long after, the waiter pushed a food cart over, but Shang Xinqi and Liu Xiaoyue were stunned. They didn't expect a 50 yuan dish to be so formal, the waiter enthusiastically introduced. "This is premium Japanese Wagyu beef. How much would you all like me to cut?" Seeing we didn't react, he thoughtfully asked again. "For the 2 young ladies, 1 finger thickness, and a 2-finger thickness for the gentleman. Is that all right? This is the common way to cut it." Shang Xinqi and Liu Xiaoyue looked at me in unison. "Is that okay?" I waved my hand. "Go ahead and do that." The waiter was quick. He cut 3 pieces of beef and placed them on an electronic scale. The 3 pieces total 600 grams at 50 yuan per gram. The total is 30,000 yuan. Hearing this number, Shang Xinqi and Liu Xiaoyue were instantly dumbfounded. The shock was evident on their faces. The waiter asked, "Sir, how would you like it cooked?" I came to my senses and coughed twice. "Medium." "Well, we'll be fine." I had never eaten a 50 yuan per gram steak in my previous life, but at least I had eaten a 50 yuan per portion steak from a street stall, so I knew a little about the doneness. Shang Xinqi whispered to Liu Xiaoyue. "Can we order it well done? I like my food thoroughly cooked." Liu Xiaoyue quickly chimed in. "I also want it well done. That suits my taste." The waiter nodded. "Yes, sir. 2 well done and 1 medium well." After saying that, he pushed the cart back to the kitchen, but when the people around heard the order for well done, disdainful laughter immediately rang out in the restaurant. As expected of the newly rich, they don't even know how to order a steak. So embarrassing. What a waste of premium Wagyu beef. Hearing the gossip, Liu Xiaoyue and Shang Xinqi looked at each other, feeling a bit guilty. Did we order wrong? "We've embarrassed you." After hearing them, I spoke casually. "Everyone's taste is different. I've never tried a well-done steak before. I'll get to try it in a bit." Then turned my head towards the source of the sound and said loudly, "How can you eat such high-quality beef well done? If it were me, as soon as the sun hit the cow, I'd be hugging its rump and taking a bite. That's what I call not being wasteful." As soon as these words were spoken, Liu Xiaoyue and Shang Xinqi burst out laughing. Their earlier embarrassment instantly vanished. Liu Xiaoyue looked at Shang Xinqi, her eyes filled with admiration. "Your boyfriend treats you so well." Shang Xinqi quickly waved her hands. "He's not my boyfriend." Liu Xiaoyue shrugged helplessly. All right, he's not your boyfriend. He's my boyfriend, okay?" She spread her hands, her face full of confusion. The relationship between these two is clearly as good as it gets. Why won't they admit it? Without much time to think, she changed the subject. "But this beef is too expensive. Such a small piece costs more than my annual salary." Shang Xinqi nodded vigorously. Seeing Liu Xiaoyue's expectant face, she leaned close to me, pleading in a low voice. "Can you not leave first today? I'm begging you, otherwise I really wouldn't know where to hide my face." I frowned, stunned, then immediately understood. The original host had taken her out to eat once, but ended up making an excuse to ditch her halfway through the meal, leaving her alone at the restaurant. The owner even thought she was dining and dashing, and almost called the police. When she got home, she was scolded by her parents. Now she just wants to save face in front of her friend. That's why she's begging me like this. I thought for a moment and sighed, pushing a bank card in front of her. "This card is enough for you to use. Stop worrying about money." Shang Xinqi stared at me, her eyes filled with disbelief. "Why are you giving me money? I don't spend that much." I smiled faintly, a hint of affection in my eyes. "I see you're too insecure. This is my allowance card. There's at least over 2 million inside, enough for you to use for a long time." She hesitated for a long time, but still pushed the card back. "It's too much. I can't accept it." I feigned surprise. "You just said you'd listen to whatever I say. Are you rebelling now? Don't worry. Just consider it as holding on to it for me. If something urgent comes up, you can use it first and pay me back later." Liu Xiaoyue stared at the card being pushed back and forth and asked curiously, How much is in there? It's not some kind of dirty money, is it? I answered casually. It's just a little over 200. After hearing that, she advised. Shinchi, take it. Just treat him a little better in the future. At worst, consider it a finder's fee for introducing me to the job. I won't charge him for the first tutoring session. Shang Xinxi looked at me with a mischievous smile and helplessly pulled on Liu Xiaoyue's sleeve, whispering under her breath, It's not 200 yuan, it's 2 million, don't talk nonsense. Liu Xiaoyue swallowed, her mind racing. She asked, This isn't because his mother objects to you two being together and this is breakup money, is it? Shang Xinxi's face flushed red. She hastily explained, He really is my brother, don't get the wrong idea. But Liu Xiaoyue looked doubtful. Then why would a brother give you so much money? Her gaze was fixed on me, looking at the straightforward Liu Xiaoyue. I spoke seriously. I've done a lot of bad things to Shinchi in the past. I want to make it up to her, so I gave her the money. After speaking, I turned to Liu Xiaoyue, a glint of expectation in my eyes. You're her best friend? You'll help me, right? Shang Xinchi glanced at me and pouted, reminding Sister Xiaoyue, Don't be fooled by him. This guy only likes pretty girls with a great figure like yours. Her eyes showed vigilance, afraid that Liu Xiaoyue would be taken advantage of. When you tutor him, remember to be careful. After hearing this, Liu Xiaoyue thought for a moment and tilted her head, asking, So, how much breakup money do you usually give your ex-girlfriends? As much as you gave Shinchi? As soon as these words were spoken, a few plot details suddenly appeared in my mind. Shang Xinxi's company developed so quickly, entirely based on her perversely strict cost control, and the one who executed it was Liu Xiaoyue. At first, when I heard her salary was being docked, I didn't think much of it at all. Now it all connects. In her 12th year of school, her mother was diagnosed with cancer, so as not to affect her college entrance exams, she had always hidden it. After finishing her exams and returning home, she found her mother fainted on the bed and learned the truth. To gather money for medicine, she sold 3 years of her life to a boss. But her mother, not wanting to be a burden, jumped from a building, thinking about how Liu Xiaoyue would become Shang Xinxi's right-hand woman. I secretly resolved to poach her first. I coughed twice, asked tentatively, Are you very short on money right now? Liu Xiaoyue sighed. My mother's health hasn't been good lately. She can't go to work. The money at home is probably running out. I nodded and teased, So you're planning to deceive this innocent young boy's heart of mine and force my mom to pay 5 million for you to break up with me? She also laughed after hearing that. If your mom really gives me 5 million, it'll say I'm pregnant with your child and demand another 5 million in child support. While the two were joking around, a strange feeling arose in Shang Xinxi's heart. She tugged on Liu Xiaoyue's hand and warned me, If you dare to bully Sister Xiaoyue, you'll tell Mom and Dad. I raised my eyebrows and smiled. A consensual relationship between two people. How can that be called bullying? The meal ended amidst laughter and jokes. Shang Xinxi looked at me. Brother, are we going home yet? She no longer resisted calling me brother. I nodded. It'll take you and Sister Xiaoyue home first. The car drove to an old residential area. Seeing she was close to home, Liu Xiaoyue quickly called out, Shangming, let me get out of the car. My house is just nearby. It's just a few steps away. I glanced at her, guessing she was afraid I'd see her poor home. In the story, although she was carefree, she always hid the insecurity about her family situation in her heart. At the same time, Shang Xinxi clenched her fists. She still remembered when she was found, the original host had gone to the countryside to see that house, and had openly shown his disdain the moment he got out of the car, purely dilapidated. Although this place was better than the countryside, it was far inferior to the Shang family's villa. She was also worried I would show disdain and hurt Liu Xiaoyue's feelings. I thought for a moment, parked the car, and walked towards the convenience store next door. When I came out, I was carrying 2 boxes of milk and a bunch of fruit. Xinchi, help me check. Is this enough for a first meeting with the parents? Shang Xinchi glanced at Liu Xiaoyue for help. She absolutely didn't expect me to be so shameless. Liu Xiaoyue couldn't help but laugh. You're not going to propose. Why are you preparing all this? I scratched my head without saying anything, thinking to myself that these things had to be faced sooner or later. Walking into the small alley, we made 2 right turns and finally arrived at Liu Xiaoyue's house. In front of the house was a flat concrete yard, and next to it was a small vegetable patch. At this moment, Liu Xiaoyue and Shang Xinxi were staring at me, trying to find some emotion on my face. But looking at the house before me, a nostalgic look appeared in my eyes. When I was young, on summer nights, my grandmother would hold me and sit in the front yard, gently fanning with a palm leaf fan. As the cool breeze blew, I wiped away a tear that almost fell from the corner of my eye and noticed the 2 of them were staring at me. What are you 2 looking at me for? My face showed some embarrassment. Seeing that I didn't show any disdain, Liu Xiaoyue breathed a sigh of relief. Shang Xinxi also tugged on the hem of my shirt and whispered, Thank you. I patted her head, a guilty look in my eyes. Sorry. This belated apology still brought tears to Shang Xinxi's eyes. She sniffled and choked out a plea. Brother, can you not go back to how you were before? Even if Mom and Dad don't like me, and my sisters don't like me, it's okay. As long as you treat me well, that's enough. I reached out and wiped her tears, then thought of something else. Don't worry, I'll take you to see third sister later. She will definitely like you. If anyone bullies you in the future, just go tell third sister so I can look for you anymore in the future, she asked in a low voice. I was stunned for a moment. This little girl is too adorable. I really don't understand what the original host was thinking, to go and make things difficult for her. Shang Xinqi's cheeks flushed slightly as she lowered her head. The deep-seated grudges in her heart seemed to vanish in an instant. I patted her head again. Be good. Don't overthink it. Let's go visit Auntie first. Shang Xinqi calmed down, a smile appearing on her face. Let's go over together. After walking a short distance, she kept glancing at me, hesitating for a long time. She finally mustered the courage to hold my arm and walk into Liu Xiaoyue's house. The house's interior was extremely simple. There was no division between the living room and kitchen, just a table placed next to a stove. As soon as they entered, Xiaoyue's mother, Wang Wan, greeted them warmly. You must be Xiaoyue's classmates, right? We don't have any good food at home. Let me fry some eggs for you. I sized up the middle-aged woman before me. She must have been diagnosed with cancer by now, right? Enduring pain every day, I put the milk and fruit on the ground. Hello, Auntie. My name is Shang Ming. Shang Xinqi peeked out from behind me. Auntie, I'm Shang Xinqi, Wang Wan chided affectionately. It's fine for you to just come and visit. You're all classmates? Why did you bring gifts? Remember to take them back with you later? I smiled and shook my head. Auntie, it's because I have something to ask of you, that I specially brought some gifts. I hope you won't mind? Wang Wan looked suspiciously at Liu Xiaoyue, then back at me, becoming vigilant. What do you want me to do? Let me see if I can help. When Liu Xiaoyue heard what I said, she became nervous. Isn't it just about tutoring? Why is he acting like he's meeting the parents? I pulled Shang Xinqi out from behind me. Auntie, my sister is in 11th grade. Her grades are terrible. She's one of the top 3 in her grade. I want to ask her to tutor my sister. Shang Xinqi looked at me blankly. Since she started high school, she's been firmly at the top of her grade. On the other hand, I always turn in a blank paper, guaranteed to be first place from the bottom up. Liu Xiaoyue tilted her head in confusion for a second, then immediately understood. Tutoring late into the night. If she were tutoring a boy, her mother would definitely not be at ease. Hearing that it was for tutoring, Wang Wan's frown relaxed a bit, but she still waved her hand dismissively. Our Xiaoyue is already in her senior year. It's a crucial time with college entrance exams in half a year. She really doesn't have any free time. In the original storyline, Wang Wan, not wanting to affect Liu Xiaoyue's studies, didn't even say a word about her own illness. I had already guessed I would be rejected. I immediately continued, Auntie, it's too far from the school here. I have a house across from Jiangcheng High School. I'd like to invite my senior to move in there to save time on commuting, and she can tutor my little sister while she's at it. Shang Xinqi snapped back to reality. She quickly nodded in agreement. Auntie, it definitely won't delay senior Xiaoyue. Besides, tutoring me can also help her review the material from 10th and 11th grade. Wang Wan was a little moved after hearing this, but looking at me, her eyes still held a hint of caution. I glanced at her expression and quickly added another sentence. Actually, what I wanted to ask you, Auntie, is if you could move in with her. When my sister is studying, I also hope you can look after her a bit. As soon as these words were spoken, Liu Xiaoyue's jaw dropped in astonishment. On the way here, I hadn't mentioned a thing about Jiangcheng High School. The monthly rent there is at least 5,000. Although she also wanted to live in a new place with her mother, she already owed me too many favors. She felt a bit troubled. She tentatively refused. Xiaoming, I can't just keep taking advantage of you guys. Hearing this, I replied confidently, What do you mean, take advantage? We can just deduct the rent from your tutoring fees. I heard that you're resting at home these days, Auntie. I know a hospital that's looking for a clerk to handle express deliveries. You could give it a try. When you're not feeling well, having a hospital nearby is also convenient. Wang Wan looked at me intently. The defensive barrier in her heart slowly came down. This is a critical period for Liu Xiaoyue. With her mother by her side, I definitely wouldn't dare to do anything improper. She chuckled. Since you've put it this way, it would be ungrateful of me to refuse. I grinned broadly. Great, Auntie. You two can start packing first. Tomorrow we'll find someone to help you move. I have something else to do, so I'll be leaving now. Turning to leave the apartment, Liu Xiaoyue finally came to her senses. She ran after me to see me off. Walking through the small alley, she would occasionally steal a glance at me. I couldn't help but ask, Why didn't you tell me about this beforehand? I shrugged helplessly. If I had told you, would you have let me see your aunt? Reaching the end of the alley, she mustered all her courage, suddenly took a step forward and hugged me tightly. She buried her head in my chest and whispered, Thank you. I also hugged Liu Xiaoyue tightly. A fragrant, intoxicating scent of peach blossoms filled my nostrils. Senior, my heart hurts so much right now, I said. Wait, what's wrong? Did I hug you too hard? Liu Xiaoyue immediately tried to pull away from my embrace. I just thought about how I bought you so many beautiful clothes, only for Shang Xinqi to benefit from it. That's what makes my heart ache. Hearing this, Liu Xiaoyue's face immediately turned bright red. She stood on her tiptoes and whispered in my ear, Then when you're free, I'll wear them just for you. While driving to the hospital, kept thinking about that hug from earlier. The soft feeling on my chest. I couldn't stop the corner of my mouth from curling into a smile. Next, I just need to maintain a good relationship with Liu Xiaoyue and then cure her mother's illness. Once she graduates, it'll directly pull her into the Shang Corporation. I secretly glanced at Shang Xinxi. This little girl still doesn't know that. I've already cut off one of her powerful arms. Hehehe. Noticing my gaze, Shang Xinxi glared back. For some unknown reason, she suddenly felt a little angry. Half an hour later, we finally arrived at the gate of the Jiangcheng City Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital. The Jiangcheng City Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital consists of a main area and the Huatuo Hall. The main area serves the general public. Anyone can come here for treatment. Although the Huatuo Hall is also open to the public, the registration fee alone is at least 100,000. Ordinary people simply can't afford it. Most of the doctors at Huatuo Hall are outstanding retired traditional Chinese medicine masters who have been invited back to work. The reason it's not all of them is because my third sister, Shang Yue, with her astonishing talent and solid foundational knowledge, has gained the recognition of all the old masters in the hall. After applying to the board of directors, she took a special path to enter the Huatuo Hall. After getting out of the car, I directly grabbed Shang Xinxi's wrist and led her to the Huatuo Hall. My top-tier medical skills have already let me know what illness Shang Xinxi has. We just need to go to the clinic to get some tonic medicine for her. It's also a good opportunity to give Shang Yue a little reminder. When performing acupuncture on a patient, she must be careful to check if the patient's internal organs are damaged. Shang Yue's skills are undeniable. It's just that this patient's condition is complex. There's a foreign object in his body. This is what will cause her acupuncture to go wrong. Just as Shang Xinxi and I were walking towards the Huatuo Hall, two medical staff members beside us ran past carrying a stretcher. On the stretcher was an elderly man wearing a gray Zhongshan suit. Move, move. The patient is in critical condition. It's an emergency. Please make way. Looking at the unconscious man on the stretcher, I knew right away that this was the important figure from Haicheng. The man's name is Wang Teng. He is one of the founding heroes of the Daxia nation. He once performed illustrious deeds for the founding of the Daxia nation. Although he has now retired from the front lines, his influence in the military is still immense. I grabbed Shang Xinxi's hand and sped up towards the Huatuo Hall. Beside us, the medical staff carried the stretcher into the Huatuo Hall. A sturdy, middle-aged man shouted loudly into the hall, "Hurry up! Get your best doctor out here." The middle-aged man's name is Wang Zhuo. He is Wang Teng's son. He also currently holds a position in the military. In the corridors on both sides, old traditional Chinese medicine doctors yawned as they came out of their consultation rooms. Among the several old doctors, a young woman wearing rimless glasses and a white coat stood out conspicuously. This person was my third sister, Shang Yue. "Who is the best doctor here? My father is in a coma. Hurry and treat my father." The old doctors looked at each other. They could tell just from the attire of the father and son, Wang Teng and Wang Zhuo, that their background was not insignificant. "Yue, you take a look at this patient first and see if you can treat him," an old doctor said. Hearing this, Shang Yue nodded. "Carry him to the bed over here." Can such a young girl even treat illnesses? The old man's illness has relapsed many times. We've seen many doctors, but none could do anything, Wang Zhuo said with a frown. Shang Yue hated it most when people brought up gender and age. She glared at Wang Zhuo and said coldly, "I am taking the patient's pulse now. Please be quiet." After finishing the pulse diagnosis, she told Wang Zhuo with a cold face, "This illness only requires a few needles to wake him up, but to be completely cured, hell need to come a few more times." The other old doctors also stepped forward one by one to check the patient's pulse. Then they nodded at Shang Yue, expressing their agreement. "I apologize. Miss, I underestimated you just now. Please perform acupuncture on the old man." Wang Zhuo apologized. Just as Shang Yue was sterilizing the silver needles, a middle-aged woman ran over. "Big brother, where's Dad? How is he now?" The woman's name was Wang Lin. She was Wang Teng's daughter. "Dad's in a coma. The situation is critical. The doctor is about to perform acupuncture on him now." Wang Zhuo pointed at the person who was sterilizing the silver needles, Shang Yue, and said, Seeing such a young doctor, Wang Lin couldn't help but frown. Can a girl this young be trusted? She immediately stepped aside, revealing a young man behind her. "Big brother, I just came from the First People's Hospital. I met this young man. I saw him use just 3 needles to cure a patient that the hospital couldn't make any progress with for years. Kung Kunkatin Trianji. When I heard Dad's illness had relapsed, I rushed to invite him over. Since the acupuncture hasn't started yet, why don't we let this young man handle it?" The young man had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. His posture was ramrod straight. He exuded a masculine charm. He clasped his hands in a fist and palm salute to Wang Zhuo and said, "Hello, my name is Luo Jihua." Miss Wang was too kind just now. That patient's body under the care of the doctor had already mostly recovered. I merely activated the medicinal properties accumulated in the patient's body. Even without me, the patient would have recovered sooner or later. Wang Zhuo nodded. He was very satisfied with Luo Jihua's modesty. His gaze shifted towards Shang Yue with some hesitation. However, before he could speak, a group of old doctors stood up and reprimanded them. What do you people mean by this? Are you here to cause trouble? We already said we can treat him, now you want to switch doctors. Are you doubting our traditional Chinese medicine hospital? Kid, where did you learn your trade? How many years have you been studying medicine? I see you haven't even grown all your hair yet. What the hell do you know about traditional Chinese medicine? Shang Yue's face also turned cold. If you don't believe me, then forget it. You can borrow this consultation room, but I won't be treating him anymore. Looking at the cold-faced Shang Yue, Luo Jihua's eyes immediately lit up. Today, Shang Yue was wearing a light pink knitted sweater. With a white coat over it, it was still stretched taut, but even so, her waist was still slender enough to be encircled by one arm. Noticing Luo Jihua's gaze, Shang Yue shot him a disgusted glare. She pulled her white coat tighter. Make a decision quickly. The patient's condition can't be delayed, she said coldly. Wang Zhuo looked at Shang Yue, then at Luo Jihua. For a moment, he didn't know which to choose. Just let them treat him first. After all, we've already brought him to their clinic. If they can't cure him, I can check the patient's pulse again, Luo Jihua said deferentially. Hearing Luo Jihua's words, Shang Yue snorted coldly. There won't be that chance. She looked at Wang Zhuo and said, undress the patient. The clothes were removed. Wang Teng's body was densely covered with knife and gunshot wounds, revealed for all to see. These wounds were all proof of his past. They were also his merits. Despite her slight dissatisfaction with Wang Zhuo, Shang Yue still felt a deep sense of admiration for Wang Teng. Just as she was concentrating on preparing for the acupuncture, I burst into the consultation room panting. Interrupted once again, Shang Yue immediately glared at the door. Unexpectedly, she saw me standing at the door. She immediately frowned in annoyance and said, "What are you doing here?" In the original novel, Shang Yue disliked the original host for being talentless and useless, and also for causing trouble all day long. Especially because their parents favored sons over daughters. Even though they knew I wasn't their biological child, they still favored me unreasonably. This made her dislike this younger brother even more. Can't you see him treating a patient? You barging in like this? If it makes me hit the wrong acupuncture point, do you know how dangerous that would be? The patients who come to our Huatuo Hall are either rich or noble. It's not every time you cause trouble that someone will pay the price for you. Don't forget your status, Shang Yue scolded. Seeing this, I pouted. I complained silently in my heart. The original host has lived for over a decade, and the money he squandered isn't as much as the compensation you'll pay for this one needle stick. But my face still showed a look of guilt. Sorry. Third sister, I didn't mean to disturb you. I just saw that the old man has many wounds on his body, and I suspect his internal organs might be damaged. There might be shrapnel or something left in his body. How about taking the old man for an x-ray first? The old doctors around naturally recognized my identity, but hearing that I wanted to use Western medical equipment, they all frowned. Young master, we in traditional Chinese medicine focus on observation, listening, questioning, and pulse-taking. That is enough to grasp the patient's condition. Relying on those machines, on the other hand, will interfere with our judgment. That's right, young master. This is a treasure left to us by our ancestors. You've never studied medical theory, so don't interfere with our diagnosis anymore. I gave this group of people a sidelong glance. Actually, if they had just spent a little more time taking his pulse, they naturally would have discovered the clue. But the old man's condition was urgent, and with Luo Jihua watching from the side, they naturally wanted to cure the patient as quickly as possible. All right, shut up. Stay quietly on the side. Don't make any noise. The patient's condition can't be delayed. If any problem occurs because of you, you'll tell mom and dad to kick you out of the house, Shang Yue said coldly. I gave Shang Yue 2 thumbs up, then I turned and walked out of the consultation room. Even a clay figurine has a temper. Let alone me, who isn't made of clay. Anyway, Shang Yue and those stubborn old geezers are impossible to reason with. I have to let them taste a bit of suffering first. This is called respecting other people's fate. Stepping out of the consultation room door, I angrily gritted my teeth. If it weren't for the fact that she almost killed Wang Teng with her needle this time and ended up having to pay several billion in compensation to settle it, I would really just want to leave the hospital and go home right now. Moreover, the compensation was transferred from Shang Ziguo's card. Shang Ziguo's supplementary card is in my hands now. Rounding up, it's equivalent to me spending several billion to pay the price for Shang Yue. Beside me, Shang Xinqi noticed that I seemed to be in a bad mood. She timidly tugged at the hem of my shirt. She was worried that my kindness to her today was just a whim. Now that I was in a bad mood, everything would go back to the way it was. Looking at Shang Xinqi's timid expression, I reached out and ruffled her hair. Her short hair, which had just been cut, was now turned into a chicken's nest. Then I guiltily helped her straighten her hair. Brother, if you're unhappy, you can take it out on me. The fact that you're taking care of Senior Xiaoyue already makes me very happy. She looked up and gave a reserved smile. I scratched my head in embarrassment. When I ruffled your hair just now, it was because I thought you were too cute. I couldn't help myself. If you don't like it, then I won't do it anymore. I like it, Shang Xinqi said, lowering her head. A blush appeared on her cheeks. I gently pinched her cheek. After third sister finishes with the patient, I'll go find her and borrow a comb. I'll comb your hair for you. Shang Xinqi excitedly clenched her hands into small fists. She felt the void in her heart, slowly being filled. After that, Shang Xinqi and I started peeking through the crack in the door, watching Shang Yue's treatment process inside the room. Wang Teng's body was covered in wounds. Some of the wounds had calloused skin, requiring a lot of force to insert the needle. Yue's acupuncture technique is becoming more and more masterful. Her speed is much faster too. The new generation surpasses the old. I'm afraid, in another 2 years, once her experience deepens a bit, she'll be able to surpass me. Miss Shang is truly the most talented person I've ever met. The spectating doctors whispered their praises one after another. Seeing Shang Yue's professional acupuncture technique, Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin both breathed a sigh of relief. Luo Jihua's gaze was fervent. He unabashedly looked Shang Yue up and down, especially when she bent over slightly. You could even see him tiptoeing a little. I curiously nudged Shang Xinqi's head with my chin and asked, "What do you think of that man?" Shang Xinqi held her head. She pouted in dissatisfaction. Following the direction I pointed, she shook her head and said with disgust, "He's peeping at third sister. And he keeps staring at third sister's chest and butt. Should we remind third sister?" In the original story, Shang Xinqi, thanks to her heaven-defying beauty, attracted Luo Jihua's attention. Luo Jihua both coveted her beauty and despised her past. He only maintained a physical relationship with her. Shang Xinqi had never truly been loved. She mistakenly believed that Luo Jihua's occasional concern was the love she had longed for. When the lie was exposed, she took revenge frantically, becoming the biggest villain in the story. "Third sister is performing acupuncture. We can't disturb her," I said. Shang Xinqi nodded. Then she showed a worried expression. Noticing her expression, I had no choice but to say, "Don't make any noise." I pulled her by the wrist to the middle of the room, perfectly blocking the view between Luo Jihua and Shang Yue. Luo Jihua frowned. A flash of anger appeared on his face, but seeing that Shang Xinqi's beauty seemed to be a level above, his gaze began to appraise her figure from behind. Is he the demon among perverts? Noticing his gaze, I couldn't help but think to myself. I pulled Shang Xinqi in front of me. One hand held her wrist, the other rested on her shoulder. She was stunned for a moment, then silently took a step back, leaning her head against my chest. I was paying attention to the silver needle in Shang Yue's hand, so I didn't notice her small action. At this moment, the acupuncture had entered its final stage. Wang Teng's hands and feet twitched twice. His eyes opened a tiny slit. Shang Yue wiped the sweat from her forehead. She took out the last silver needle. The final acupuncture point was in the center of the chest. As long as it was inserted, the patient would be able to fully regain consciousness. She aimed for the acupuncture point and slowly inserted the silver needle. Suddenly, as the needle went in, she felt an unusual sensation in her hand. It seemed to be blocked by something hard. She doubtfully checked the acupuncture point again. She hadn't missed the spot. Before she could think further, Wang Teng's eyes suddenly flew open. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The silver needle on his chest was also slowly pushed out. Blood spurted from the needle hole. "What happened? How did this happen? Didn't you say you could cure him?" Wang Zhuo said in astonishment. Shang Yue stammered in reply. I don't know. My acupuncture point should have been correct." Shang Yue's face instantly turned pale. She wanted to check the patient's pulse again, but Wang Lin slapped the back of her hand. "You're just a young girl. What do you know about acupuncture? Are you using my father as practice? Is this how your Shang family treats patients?" Wang Zhuo used his hand to cover the wound on Wang Teng's chest and glared angrily at the group of old traditional Chinese doctors in front of him, roaring, "If my father dies today, I want your Shang family to be buried with him. Which one of you is going to come over here and treat him?" The old traditional Chinese doctors looked at each other. None of them dared to take a step forward. If Wang Teng died now, this medical incident would become Shang Yue's responsibility alone. But once they took over, they would also have to bear half the responsibility. They had all just taken Wang Teng's pulse, and regarding Shang Yue's treatment method, they thought there was no problem with it. They could only say that it might be due to the patient's special constitution, and she was just the unlucky one. Shang Yue bit her lip tightly, her eyes pleadingly looking at the other old doctors. But they all lowered their heads, not daring to look her in the eye. "You bunch of quacks! Are you just going to stand by and watch my father die here? The old master performed glorious deeds for the founding of Daxia, and yet he's about to be killed by you bunch of quacks. If my father dies here, not only your hospital, but all of you can wait to be buried with him," Wang Zhuo threatened. "Can I please take the old sir's pulse one more time?" Shang Yue said with tears in her eyes, speaking hurriedly. "The Shang Corporation is the life's work of 3 generations of our family. If I cause a death while treating someone and ruin it all in an instant, she wouldn't have the face to live on. Get lost, it's all because of you, you bitch. You harmed my father and put him in this state. You damn wealthy families. You just like to use professional experience to gild your daughters so they can latch onto someone richer. If you want to gild yourself, fine. But why did you have to harm my father to death? What on earth are your intentions?" Wang Lin roared. "No, I'm not. Please give me one more chance, Shang Yue begged. Wang Lin snorted coldly. Give you another chance so you can kill my father? You vicious woman. Get lost now. According to the original plot, Luo Jihua would step forward to defuse the situation next and save Wang Teng's life, but he held back a trick. He didn't completely cure Wang Teng, instead causing him to be paralyzed in both legs. Afterwards, he used the excuse of treatment to frequently visit the Wang family home, getting close to the Wang family. Shang Yue, because of Luo Jihua's intervention, developed feelings for him. She used the excuse of discussing medical skills to constantly get closer to him. Although this time she nearly caused a death and caused severe after effects, she completely lost the courage to treat patients again. This time, it truly was a medical incident. Please give me another chance to fix it. Shang Yue gritted her teeth, moving as if to kneel. At this moment, Luo Jihua stepped forward and said, Actually, there was nothing wrong with her acupuncture technique just now. It might be due to the patient's special constitution. Let me take his pulse and see first. Shang Yue looked at Luo Jihua with gratitude. She didn't expect that after the incident, the old doctors from the Huatuo clinic all avoided her like the plague. Only Luo Jihua was willing to speak up for her. Luo Jihua took Wang Teng's pulse. He frowned and said, Because of the recent incident, the old master, although he may wake up, I am afraid he will be left paralyzed in both legs. Hearing that he could still be saved, Wang Lin and Wang Zhuo looked towards Luo Jihua and hurriedly pleaded, Please, quickly, save my father. As long as you can save the old master's life, being paralyzed in both legs is fine. Nodded. His gaze swept over the old doctors of Jiang City Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital, contemptuously mocking them. Do I still need to give you all, this old man, a chance to diagnose? You old doctors have practiced medicine your whole lives. Surely you can easily resolve this situation, right? The old doctors looked at each other, their heads bowed low. Even if they were 80% sure they could cure Wang Teng now, they wouldn't dare step forward to take his pulse, fearing they would ruin their reputations and have to bear responsibility for the medical incident. This kid has never studied under a famous master, just fumbled around on my own for a few years. You've studied medicine for many years, heirs to prestigious schools, and yet your medical skills are only this much. Truly, you've grown old, but lived like trash, Luo Jihua said with contempt. Shang Yue bit her lip lightly, glancing at Luo Jihua with an admiring gaze. At this moment, she felt some dissatisfaction towards these cowardly old doctors. Noticing Shang Yue's gaze, Luo Jihua glanced over, raising an eyebrow with a wicked smile. Suddenly, a scoff rang out, breaking the silence of the clinic. Treating someone until they're crippled, and you still have the gall to mock others. With a face that thick, it's a shame not to use it as a garbage bag. It can really hold anything. I yawned and walked in front of Wang Teng. Shang Ming, what on earth do you want to do? Get back here for me. Don't delay the patient's treatment. It's one thing for you to cause trouble on a normal day. Mom and Dad always spoil you. The Shang family is our 3-generation family business. If it goes bankrupt because of you, I won't forgive you even in death. Shang Yue scolded angrily. That's right, young master. We can't treat this patient anymore. We should let someone else take a look now. This is a matter of life and death. We can't delay the patient's treatment. A group of old doctors also chimed in to persuade him. They knew that I usually don't study, don't do any proper work. Now is not the time to fool around. Just hand him over to Luo Jihua for treatment. As long as the old master is saved, the Shang family can just compensate with some money, and this matter will be over. If the old master dies, even the Shang family might not be able to withstand the anger of these people. Luo Jihua looked at my youthful appearance, showing even more disdain. If you're not convinced, then I'll let you treat him. But I'll remind you, the old master's pulse is already very weak. He can't handle you dragging this out any longer. Knowing the old master is about to die, you were just rambling on. Are you waiting for the old master to die so you can falsely accuse us, saying we delayed your treatment? So you're also a fame-hungry swindler. I rolled my eyes. As I spoke, I reached out and took the old master's wrist. Just as Luo Jihua said, due to excessive blood loss, the old master's pulse was very weak. If not treated promptly, he could die at any moment. You're the swindler. I saw him treat and save people with my own eyes. How could that be fake? What does a snot-nosed kid like you know? Get lost for me. Make way for divine Dr. Luo, Wang Lin ordered. Are you a fraudulent shop? You can cure him yourselves and you won't let others treat him. Do you have to drag a healthy patient to his death? Wang Zhuo's tone was hostile. Shang Yue took a step forward, preparing to pull me away directly. You, a useless, uneducated person, have never studied medicine. How could you possibly know how to treat a patient? After all, you're not Mom and Dad's biological son. On what grounds are you in our Shang family's clinic? Now get out of here for me. I stopped what I was doing, looked deeply at Shang Yue, and suddenly smirked, saying, Third sister, the amount of money I've spent all these years doesn't compare to this one incident of yours. My gaze shifted to Wang Teng. I raised my fist to his chest and gently tapped the area over his heart. Seeing my action, everyone present was shocked, their mouths agape. Kid, you're looking for death. Wang Zhuo sprang up from the bed, grabbing my throat, wanting to slam me against the wall. I pressed a pressure point on Wang Zhuo's arm, freeing myself from his grip on my neck. However, under the strong force from Wang Zhuo, I was still slammed against the wall. I spat out a mouthful. If I hadn't pressed that pressure point, that blow just now would have nearly taken half my life. Wang Zhuo rubbed his numb hand and charged forward again. But to everyone's surprise, Shang Xinqi spread her arms to shield me. "You can't hit my brother." Although she was trembling with fear, her voice was very firm. "Get out of the way. I don't hit women. My father is about to die, and that bastard just dared to hit him," Wang Zhuo said angrily. Seeing Shang Xinqi shielding me, Shang Yue also took a step forward. "Xinqi, this bastard brought this upon himself. He has to bear the consequences. Have you forgotten all the terrible things he's done to you?" Shang Xinqi shook her head. "I don't care. He's changed now." "Silly girl, he only wants our family's money. That's why he's deliberately trying to please you. We sisters all know his character. Only mom and dad still defend him. Otherwise, he would have been kicked out long ago. Do you know what his action just now is called? It's called intentional homicide. The patient is so weak, that punch of his could very well have killed him on the spot." Luo Jihua opportunely added fuel to the fire. "I said it before, a beautiful girl like you. How could you have such a vicious brother? Turns out he's a bastard adopted from outside. It seems he probably knows he can get any money, so he wants to destroy your Shang family." Hearing this, Shang Yue came to a sudden realization. She looked at me, sighed, and said, "I thought you were just stubborn and hard to manage. I never thought you'd even dare to commit murder. When I get back, I'll tell mom and dad to kick you out of the Shang family." Shang Xinqi shook her head, stubbornly saying, "Don't call me your sister. You've never cared about me. If he goes, then I'll go with him." Looking at the deep brother-sister bond before her, Shang Yue sneered. "A bastard. A wild girl. It's good that the two of you are leaving the Shang family." I ruffled Shang Xinqi's hair like she was a little lioness. I folded her outstretched hands, thinking to myself that I hadn't doted on this little girl for nothing. In the situation just now, the people around wouldn't give me the chance to slowly stop the bleeding. I could only use a risky move, directly using strong medicine, to make them shut up only after seeing the treatment's effect. My eyes turned cold. I glanced at Shang Yue, sneering. "Stop rambling on here. That little mouth of yours is as if it's coated in poison, trying to use hysteria to cover up your mistake. Don't even dream about it. Even if I killed this old man with one punch, don't forget that you were the one who needled him first. If the Shang Corporation collapses, it will be because of you." I glanced again at the murderous Wang Zhuo. "Are you sure you don't need my intervention to treat the old man, right?" Wang Zhuo snorted coldly. "What the hell do you know about treatment? If the old master dies, it'll make you be buried with him today." I could only shrug. Whatever. Then it seems there's no need for me to act. My gaze shifted to the old doctors beside me. "Find me a comb." The old doctors looked at each other, their gazes unconsciously shifting towards the gloomy-faced Shang Yue. During the argument just now, Shang Yue had revealed that I am not a biological son of the Shang family. They couldn't possibly risk offending her to get a comb for me. I sighed. Truly, a tiger in the plains is bullied by dogs. A featherless phoenix is no better than a chicken. I pulled Shang Xinqi's wrist and gestured with my chin towards them. Shang Xinqi nodded as if she understood my intention. She said to the old doctors, "Find me a comb." The old doctors looked at each other. Both sides were young ladies of the Shang family. Neither was easy to offend. Just as the atmosphere began to grow heavy, Wang Lin suddenly shouted loudly, "Big brother, look, has our father stopped bleeding?" A moment ago, everyone's attention was on me. Only now did they realize with astonishment that not only had Wang Tang stopped bleeding, but his complexion had also become a bit rosier. Wasn't the young master just treating the patient? Has any of you heard that the young master studied medicine? Didn't they say the young master is an uneducated, good-for-nothing who causes trouble all day? Then how could he cure an illness that even the third young miss couldn't? Could it be that the patient is having a final burst of energy before death? A group of old doctors guessed one after another. Shang Yue looked at Wang Tang in surprise, wanting to take his pulse again. However, before she could step forward, Wang Lin's glare shot over. "Little divine doctor, please take a look. Has the old master's condition improved?" She looked at Luo Jihua and asked. Luo Jihua took the pulse for a moment, discovering that Wang Tang's pulse was indeed a bit stronger than before. He looked at me in surprise, hesitated for a long time, but still nodded lightly. I looked at Shang Yue and said with a smile, "Can you find a comb for me now?" Shang Yue's face was gloomy. "If you have a way to treat that patient, then hurry up and cure the patient now. Don't you forget, everything you have was given to you by the Shang family. If the Shang family goes bankrupt, don't expect to live in peace either." I shrugged helplessly in response. Didn't Dr. Shang say so herself? One should bear the consequences of their own mistakes. The young master clearly just wanted to help the third young miss. He was just pointed at and scolded harshly. Who could feel good about that now? The third young miss even said the young master isn't part of the Shang family and wanted to kick him out of the Shang family. Oh, the poor young master. His kindness was repaid with malice. A group of old doctors whispered among themselves. Shang Yue's expression was dark and uncertain. She shot them a fierce glare, causing them to immediately fall silent. Hearing that the old master's condition had improved, Wang Zhuo came before me, scratching his head awkwardly. Sorry, little brother. I was too impulsive just now. If you wanted to treat the old master, you should have just said something to me first. We wouldn't have had such a big misunderstanding, right? I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Am I crazy? I wanted to treat him. Have you all forgotten how you treated me just now? I pointed to the camera in the corner of the wall. If you've forgotten, this thing can help you remember. Let me declare again, you didn't misunderstand me. I was just trying to see if the old master's health was good. After all, the quack you brought can also treat the old man. At worst, he'll just be bedridden. It's not like you can't hire a nurse. Hearing my words, Luo Jihua shot me a fierce glare. He could also completely cure Wang Teng. He just wanted to get close to the Wang family in Haicheng, so he didn't want to cure him completely in one go. Hearing the mockery, looks of surprise and joy appeared on Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin's faces again. Little brother, what you mean is, you can completely cure the old master, right? I snorted coldly without answering, gently taking Shang Xinqi's hand. I said apologetically, I accidentally messed up your hair again just now. If there's no comb here, then let's go home first. Seeing that we really intended to leave, Wang Zhuo hurriedly stepped forward to stop us. Little brother, it was all my fault just now. Please save my father. As long as my father can be cured, within my ability, I can agree to any of your conditions. Wang Lin also took out a jade comb from her pocket and placed it in Shang Xinqi's hand. Such a beautiful little sister. Consider this comb a meeting gift from your auntie. Shang Xinqi's gaze shifted towards me. It wasn't that she didn't understand anything. If I didn't agree, she wouldn't accept the gift from the woman in front of her. You decide, I said gently. Shang Xinqi thought for a moment. Although they didn't treat us well just now, but they really love their father. Brother, can we help them? Just like that, I took the jade comb from Wang Lin's hand, casually placing it in Shang Xinqi's hand. In a moment after the acupuncture is done, I'll help you comb your hair, little chicken's nest head. Shang Xinqi huffed lightly, complaining in a low voice. Weren't you the one who messed it up? At this moment, my gaze shifted back to Shang Yue. I said in a cold voice, prepare a set of silver needles for me. Get him a set of silver needles. Shang Yue gritted her teeth and ordered the old doctors beside her. In her impression, her younger brother was an uneducated person who caused trouble all day long. But today she discovered, not only did I know medicine, but it seemed my skill level might even be higher than hers. This made it completely difficult for her to accept for a moment. A set of silver needles was quickly sterilized and handed to me. I did a simple check and began preparing to perform acupuncture on Wang Teng. As I picked up the silver needle, I hesitated for a moment and suddenly stopped my action. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Little brother, do you have any other requests? Just say it. As long as I can do it, I will definitely do my best to help you, Wang Zhuo said worriedly. I shook my head, looked at Shang Yue and said, so you can lose fair and square. Come over and take the patient's pulse. Shang Yue had long wanted to take Wang Teng's pulse to see where exactly she had gone wrong with the needles. It was just that Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin suspected that she had worsened the old master's condition and were always on guard against her. Her gaze flickered hesitantly towards Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin. Seeing that although their faces were unhappy, they didn't stop her. My little brother already told you to go take his pulse. What are you still standing there for? Wang Zhuo snorted coldly. Look at the character of your younger brother. You humiliated him so badly just now, and yet he still wants to pass on his medical skills to you. Having a brother like that, and you don't even know how to cherish him. You even want to kick him out of the house. If your Shang family doesn't want him, our Wang family can adopt him, Wang Lin scolded. I smiled. Thank you for the kind offer. My parents treat me very well. As long as they don't kick me out, I won't leave the Shang family. Shang Yue took Wang Teng's pulse once more. Other than the pulse being a little weaker than at the beginning, there wasn't much difference. But during the process of taking his pulse, she suddenly recalled the words I said while leaning against the door when I saw the many scars on the patient's body, and reminded her to pay attention to the patient's internal organ issues and whether there was any remaining shrapnel. Shang Yue's eyes suddenly lit up. She put her hand on the old man's body and felt around. At the location of the last needle insertion, she felt a small, hard object inside the old man's body. You humiliated him so badly just now, and yet he still wants to pass on his medical skills to you. Having a brother like that, and you don't even know how to cherish him, you even want to kick him out of the house. If your Shang family doesn't want him, our Wang family can adopt him, Wang Lin scolded. I smiled. Thank you for the kind offer. My parents treat me very well. As long as they don't kick me out, I won't leave the Shang family. Shang Yue took Wang Teng's pulse once more. The pulse, aside from being slightly weaker than before, showed no other significant difference. But while taking his pulse, she suddenly recalled my words from when I was clinging to the door. Seeing the many scars on the patient's body, I reminded her to pay attention to the patient's internal organs, to see if there was any shrapnel or similar things left inside. Instantly, Shang Yue's eyes lit up. She ran her hands over the old man's body. At the location of the last needle insertion, she felt a tiny hard object inside his body. That hard object was extremely small, just a little bigger than the tip of a silver needle. She immediately had an epiphany. No wonder during the acupuncture just now, the feeling when the last silver needle entered the old man's body was off. Recalling her angry words to me earlier, her cheeks were now flushed red with embarrassment. I'm sorry about earlier, she mumbled. After discovering the cause, she was now completely confident she could cure this old man. I paid no attention to her apology. I just held the silver needle, pointed to a few acupoints on the old man's body, and looked at Luo Jihua to ask, "Should I insert the needles at these points? Little quack, do you have any better ideas?" Luo Jihua frowned, not understanding what I meant. Wang Lin thought I was discussing a better treatment plan with Luo Jihua. She looked at the young miracle doctor Luo Jihua with a worried gaze. "Is that right? Do you have a better treatment plan?" Luo Jihua shook his head. "If it were me, I would do it the same way." Wang Lin breathed a sigh of relief. If they had reached a consensus, then this acupuncture method must certainly be the best solution for now. Next, before inserting each needle, I would first ask for Luo Jihua's opinion, giving everyone the impression that I knew a little something, but not much. Until the last needle was inserted, the old man's eyes slowly opened. Wang Zhuo immediately knelt before Wang Teng, his eyes red with emotion. "Dad, how are you feeling? Do you feel better?" Wang Lin squatted by the edge of the bed, her expression worried. "Dad, what on earth is wrong with you? When I heard from my eldest brother that you were in a coma, I was scared to death." Although Wang Teng was weak, his eyes still exuded an air of authority. He yelled at Wang Zhuo, "What kind of man cries like that? Go home and run a 30-kilometer loaded march for me." However, when speaking to Wang Lin, his voice softened considerably. "It's just my old ailments. I even saw her just now. She asked me how you children are doing. I told her the son is still as useless as ever, and the daughter looks more and more like her mother as she grows up." His gaze was gentle, as if seeing someone else's shadow through Wang Lin. Suddenly, he felt something was wrong. He frowned slightly and looked down at his legs. "Dad, what's wrong?" The two of them noticed the old man's abnormality. "My legs have no strength. It feels like they're paralyzed. They'll probably get my strength back after eating some meat at home," Wang Teng said. Seeing this, Wang Zhuo looked at me and asked doubtfully, "Didn't you say you could completely cure the old man?" His gaze shifted to Luo Jihua. "Little quack, you could even cure his coma before, so just a small matter like removing the bruised blood in his legs and clearing his meridians, you can fix that?" Luo Jihua gritted his teeth, his hands clenched into fists. Now he understood why earlier I kept asking him how to perform the acupuncture. The previous acupuncture plan was also his. If he said he could cure it, wouldn't that mean he had grasped the entire treatment plan for the old man? Then his earlier words that the old man would end up disabled, wouldn't that reveal his intention to indebt them and latch on to the Wang family? He took a deep breath, gently shook his head, and said shamefully, "I am just a humble practitioner with no sect. I've only been self-taught for a few years. There are some illnesses I haven't studied yet." In that instant, Shang Yue's gaze towards Luo Jihua didn't hide her disgust at all. To people like Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin, they might think that every profession has its own specialty. But to someone who studied traditional Chinese medicine like her, the old man's current condition could only be considered basic knowledge. As a young lady from a wealthy family, she immediately understood the implications. As long as the old man wasn't cured, Luo Jihua could endlessly demand benefits from the Wang family. The Shang family could also only helplessly let Luo Jihua bleed them dry. She really wanted to expose this petty man's true face, but she knew that right now, her words held no weight. Just as Shang Yue predicted, Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin didn't feel anything was amiss. They looked at me and said, "Little brother, we'll have to trouble you to put in more effort again." I immediately shrugged, looked at Wang Lin and Wang Zhuo, and said, "It's no trouble. The rest is just a minor illness, all basic knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine. Everyone here can treat the old man. Auntie, in the future don't believe in those street-side miracle doctors. Cheating you out of money is one thing, but delaying treatment, that's something that harms people." Wang Lin glanced at Luo Jihua, now also harboring some suspicion. She began to wonder if Luo Jihua had just coincidentally encountered a patient with textbook symptoms and was thus able to cure them, or if he was actually holding back his skills, wanting to use this opportunity to latch on to the Wang family. Seeing that Wang Lin was suspicious of Luo Jihua, I added more fuel to the fire. I took Shang Yue's hand and pushed her forward. The mistake she just made, let her make up for it. Shang Yue looked at me in surprise, not expecting that I would be willing to give her a chance to prove herself. Wang Lin and Wang Zhuo frowned, clearly not trusting Shang Yue very much. I looked at Wang Teng and asked, "Old sir, the matter of the shrapnel in your chest, do your children know about it?" Wang Zhuo was stunned and asked doubtfully, "Dad, you still have shrapnel in your chest?" Wang Teng snorted coldly, "What's the use of telling you? So many famous doctors have looked at it and said it can't be removed. Even if you knew, could you take it out?" Wang Zhuo shrank back. "Dad, I was just concerned about you. I don't need your concern. My health is still perfectly fine. Just train well and serve the country soon. That's enough. Don't disgrace our Wang family," Wang Teng yelled. As for me, I looked at Wang Teng and scolded him resentfully. "Even your own son doesn't know about your health condition. As a result, you fell into a coma, and not a single person told us. Do you know how many medical incidents are caused each year because patients hide their medical history? If you die, so be it. You're old anyway. But do you know how much psychological trauma killing a person can cause a doctor? Just because of you, you almost destroyed a hope for the future of medicine in our great Xia nation. Hearing my explanation, Wang Lian and Wang Zhuo finally understood. It turned out that it wasn't Shang Yue's medical skills that were poor, but that their father's body had a special issue. Shang Yue lowered her head, gently biting her lip. She didn't expect that I not only helped her explain, but my words also showed concern for whether this incident would leave her with psychological trauma. A deep sense of guilt welled up in her heart. I didn't think that much. I just wanted to absolve Shang Yue of responsibility for the old man's medical incident. After all, any compensation money would be my money. My money. Pausing for a moment, I continued my tearful complaint. It was clearly because you people hid his medical records that a medical incident occurred, yet your son threatened to have our entire Shang family buried with him. Our Shang family, after all, has provided millions of jobs for Jiang City. If the Shang family collapses, are those millions of people supposed to go out on the streets and starve? Wang Teng was scolded until his face turned red. He turned to look at Wang Zhuo and angrily scolded, "You little brat, you've got some nerve. If I don't hit you for 3 days, you'll climb onto the roof and tear off the tiles?" Daring to threaten others, his head swiveled back and forth as if looking for something. Wang Zhuo shamefully shrank back. He pleaded, "Dad, there are outsiders here." I stood by and reminded him at the right moment. "Uncle," he said to use his belt, "spare the rod, spoil the child. If your son is disobedient, a few beatings will make him behave." Wang Teng seemed to come to his senses and held out his hand to Wang Zhuo. Wang Zhuo shot me a resentful glance, not expecting this kid to hold such a grudge. So he quietly unbuckled the leather belt from his waist and placed it in Wang Teng's hand. This belt was made of real cowhide, very flexible, and it whistled when swung. "Uncle, let me apply some oil to the belt for you. It wouldn't be good if you accidentally hurt your son while hitting him. But your family is a military family, so you absolutely cannot spoil your children, letting them develop a habit of bullying others with their power. We are in a hospital with the best doctors in Jiang City. You just need to leave him with one breath and we can bring him back." "Enjoying the drama without fear of consequences?" I said gloatingly. Wang Teng nodded. The belt whistled through the air as it was swung, lashing across Wang Zhuo's back. Wang Zhuo gritted his teeth, determined not to make a single sound. At this moment, his gratitude towards me had vanished into thin air, leaving only a heart full of resentment. This kid is rotten to the core. "Dad, you haven't fully recovered yet? Don't overexert yourself." "Big brother only made a mistake because he was worried," Wang Lin advised. Seeing that the lesson was almost over, I chimed in, "Uncle, please calm down first. You can't exert much force sitting like this. After we cure your legs, it will be more convenient for you to act. You see, your eldest son didn't make a sound just now. He's clearly not convinced. He still hasn't admitted he was wrong. This child will be ruined if you don't discipline him more." Hearing my words, Wang Zhuo's jaw dropped in astonishment. He had undergone professional torture resistance training. Even if captured by the enemy as a prisoner of war, he would absolutely not reveal any information. This tough quality was slandered by me as a sign of defiance. Wang Teng threw the belt aside, clutching his chest and panting, then turned to ask me, "Did you say that little girl can cure my legs?" I nodded and introduced, "That's my third sister, Shang Yue." This humble boy's meager medical skills were also learned by eavesdropping on her. "All right, little girl, please come over and take a look at me," Wang Teng said. Shang Yue walked over and once again carefully took the old man's pulse. Her initial confidence had been eroded by the recent incident. Before inserting each needle, she would look at me as if for confirmation. I glanced at her twice, then decisively brought over a chair and started combing Shang Xinxi's hair myself. Shang Xinxi seemed to be in a very good mood, sitting on the chair, her small feet swinging gently in the air. Her head also swayed slightly from time to time. When Shang Yue saw I wasn't paying attention to her, she sighed softly. She knew I was still angry. It was just for the sake of the bigger picture that I didn't embarrass her in front of outsiders. And yet, just a moment ago, she was the one who threw my face and dignity to the ground and trampled on them. I must find a way to make it up to him later. When I go home in a few days, I must ask Mom and Dad when Xiaoming started learning medicine and also find out what Xiaoming likes. As each silver needle was inserted, Wang Teng felt a tingling sensation in his legs and quickly regained feeling. Seeing Shang Yue remove the last silver needle and nod at him, Wang Teng held onto the bed frame and slowly stood up. Seeing his father had recovered, Wang Zhuo was moved to the verge of tears and rushed forward to support him. Wang Teng tremblingly picked up the belt that had just been thrown aside and roared angrily, "This brat, the older you get, the thicker your skin becomes. You still dare to be defiant when I'm teaching you a lesson?" After another long session of tough love, Wang Zhuo was now more tactful. Every time Wang Teng brought the belt down, he would let out a grunt, as if he wanted to endure it, but couldn't. Wang Teng struck twice and felt a bit of pity, so he threw the belt aside. "You'll be angered to death by you brat sooner or later. he snorted coldly. Wang Zhuo put on a fawning smile. Dad, you have to live a long and healthy life. Don't say such unlucky things. Wang Lin, from the handbag she carried, took out 2 checks, looked at Luo Jihua, and said gratefully, Young miracle doctor, thank you for the trouble of coming with me from the Nomba One People's Hospital to the traditional Chinese medicine hospital. A small token of my appreciation. I hope you'll accept it. Looking at the check for only 100,000 yuan, Luo Jihua frowned slightly, but immediately returned to normal. Sister Lin, I didn't actually treat the old man. How could I dare to accept your payment? Wang Lin had been observing Luo Jihua's expression the whole time. Luo Jihua's small action naturally did not escape her eyes. She immediately felt a little displeased, but she still smiled and said, I can't let you accompany me for nothing. Luo Jihua wanted to say a few more words to get closer to the Wang family, but Wang Lin didn't give him that chance. She turned to face me. I heard them say, your name is Sheng Ming. This auntie will take the liberty of calling you Xiao Ming. My eldest brother was indeed a bit hot-headed earlier. I apologize to you on his behalf. Thank you for saving my father. This is 10 million. Please accept it. After Wang Lin finished speaking sincerely, she also observed my expression and demeanor. My face immediately broke into a smile, as if the unpleasantness from before had never happened. How could I accept this? Although my mouth said that, my body was very honest and reached out to snatch the 10 million check. After getting the check, I even waved it in front of Shang Xinqi and said with a proud expression, I earned 10 million. Am I amazing? Shang Xinqi looked at me with an admiring expression, a sweet smile also blooming on her lips. As if remembering something, I walked up to Wang Lin and handed back the 10 million check. Auntie, can you help me exchange this for 2 5 million checks? Wang Lin was stunned for a moment, but still took out her checkbook and wrote 2 checks for 5 million. I took the checks, took one and stuffed it into Shang Xinqi's hand and patted her head. Now you're a little rich girl too. Looking at my appearance, Wang Lin couldn't help but laugh. It's better for children to act like children. She glanced at Luo Jihua, who was clearly around the same age as Xiaoming, but called her sister. Compared to me calling her auntie so naturally, Luo Jihua seemed too worldly and mature. As for Luo Jihua, he was grinding his teeth in hatred. Originally, that 10 million and the relationship with the Wang family were all his. He didn't expect a Cheng Yaojin to suddenly appear and snatch everything away. I didn't pay attention to these things. Looking at the check in my hand, then looking at Wang Tang, I said hesitantly, Uncle, how about I take out the shrapnel in your chest for you? Otherwise, I don't feel at ease taking this money. When Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin heard this, their faces showed shock. Can you really help my father take out the shrapnel in his chest? The two said in unison. They knew that with their father's status, if it was said that it couldn't be removed, then it meant that the top famous doctors in the country had all looked at it and collectively concluded it was impossible to remove. And Wang Tang, hearing this, also said in amazement, Young man, removing this shrapnel requires surgery. The old traditional doctors of Huatuo Clinic also advised against it in unison, and even winked at me, saying, Young master, this surgery is not like acupuncture. One small mistake and someone could die. It's one thing to say you're self-taught in traditional Chinese medicine, but this surgery requires a lot of practical experience. Shang Yue pulled my shoulder, stood on her tiptoes, and whispered in my ear, being able to wake the old man from his coma is already a huge favor from our Sheng family to them. If the old man passes away during the surgery, not only will this favor be gone, but we might also make an enemy, you know? I only felt a soft area pressing against my body and a warm, tingling breeze by my ear. I have to say, Shang Yue's looks and figure are both exquisite, even a few degrees more beautiful than the current Shang Xinqi. I took 2 steps back, putting some distance between myself and Shang Yue. I looked at Wang Zhuo and said, take the old man for an x-ray first. In the end, it's up to the old man to decide anyway. There's a first time for everything. Don't worry, I won't be nervous. Wang Zhuo looked hesitant and asked, if we don't take it out, how long can my father live? I took Wang Tang's pulse once more and said, about 3 years. His body probably won't be able to take it anymore. In the original story, Wang Tang died after exactly 3 years. Then in 3 years, I'll bring my father back to have the shrapnel removed. Wang Zhuo said bluntly. I sighed softly, my gaze shifting towards Wang Tang. Wang Tang's old face flushed red. He snorted coldly. Take me for an x-ray. It's rare to meet a kid with the guts to dare to operate on me. The other doctors, after seeing my condition, just walked away. Even if I die, I'll accept it. None of you are to make things difficult for them. After hearing Wang Tang speak, I praised him. The old man is straightforward. I looked at the group of old traditional doctors, then glanced at Shang Yue and shook my head, saying, a cowardly soldier affects only himself. A cowardly general affects the whole army. The hospital director should resign. Replace him with someone who dares to act and take responsibility. I know you all want to play it safe, but whether to treat or not, and how to treat, should be up to the patient to decide. After speaking, I went to the medicine cabinet, grabbed a few prescriptions of Chinese medicine, and casually handed them to an old traditional doctor. Brew these prescriptions and add a lot of honey and cane sugar. Wang Teng frowned. This old man has suffered for half his life. I don't need honey and cane sugar. This is for my sister to drink, I explained with a smile. As if suddenly remembering something, I instructed the traditional doctor who had just taken the medicine. Also prescribe a few doses of qi and blood tonifying medicine for the old man. The old man isn't afraid of bitterness, so add a lot of koptis. It clears heat and resolves fire. Wang Teng gritted his teeth. Although I'm not afraid of bitterness. But there's no need to suffer intentionally. Under my guidance, Wang Teng had his x-rays half an hour later. The film showed that he still had 3 pieces of shrapnel left in his body, all in his heart and lungs. Moreover, their locations were extremely dangerous. With injuries like these, if it were anyone else, even a single piece would have been fatal. For the old man to have endured 3 and still be alive is truly a miracle. Seeing the x-rays, Shang Yue couldn't help but frown in admiration. The doctors from Huatuo Clinic also shook their heads. These 3 locations are indeed not easy to handle. The surgical risk is extremely high. Actually, as long as the patient maintains a calm state of mind and avoids strenuous exercise, he can probably live for another 2 years. Wang Zhuo asked with a worried face. So can you take them out or not? What are the chances of a full recovery? No one said anything. They just looked at each other and then shook their heads one by one. This wasn't about being prudent to protect themselves, but that their medical skills were not up to par. Considering the location of the shrapnel, removing even 1 piece would be nothing short of a miracle, and such a miracle would need to happen 3 times in a row. Seeing everyone's frowning faces, Wang Teng also gave a bitter smile and shook his head. Forget it. This old man will just have to accept his fate. Beside him, Wang Lin clenched her fists and looked unwillingly at me, Xiaoming. Can the shrapnel be removed? I frowned deeply and asked aloud, Old sir, right now when you breathe and your heart beats, it must be very painful, right? Hearing these words, everyone's gaze focused on me. When it's a matter of life and death, who cares about whether it's painful or not? Wang Teng heard what I said and laughed out loud. At first, when everyone saw the shrapnel left in his body, their eyes were filled with sorrow and sympathy. Unexpectedly, only this kid cared about him. I heard you're not the biological son of the Shang family, Shang Ming. Hearing Wang Teng's words, Xinqi and Shang Yue cautiously moved closer. Xinqi even gently took my arm. At home, I'm the only one who treats her well now. If I were to leave her, she would have to return to those dark days. I raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, Old man, don't you try to sow discord. My parents treat me very well. Although I skip school every day to go to nightclubs and flirt with pretty girls, they still believe I'm a good kid. I took Xinqi's wrist, raised it, and shook it twice. See? My family can't bear to be without me. Hearing me call her family, Xinqi's face flushed slightly and she nodded gently. A trace of warmth rose in her heart. Is this what it feels like to have a family? Wang Teng pouted. If the family relationship wasn't good, he could have interjected. But if the relationship is harmonious, he shouldn't do something to break up someone else's family. Seeing this, my eyes darted around, and I suddenly said with a laugh, Mr. Wang, I have an idea. Since my grandfather has already passed away, how about you adopt my father as your son? Adopt 1, get 7 free, each one as lovely as me. What do you think? The Wang family's upbringing is very strict. It was hard enough for me to transmigrate once. I absolutely cannot enter the Wang family. If every day is about disciplined living, balanced nutrition, studying hard, and daily progress, then what's the point of revenge? When Wang Teng heard me call him grandpa, he felt a little pleased inside. But upon hearing the next words, his expression immediately darkened. This act of finding a father for my own father is just speechless. Mr. Wang, my grandfather was a soldier, and the people my father has respected most, his entire life, are military men. Not to mention someone like you, a legend with illustrious battle achievements. Xiaoming, don't make things difficult for the old man. But Xiaoming is not wrong. The people my father has respected most his entire life are indeed military men. If we have this honor, we hope to invite you all to our home for a meal, Shang Yue interjected. Wang Teng thought for a moment, then I'll wait until this old man recovers before I come to bother you. I sighed softly, feeling a little regretful. In the original novel, one of the important reasons the Shang group went bankrupt was the lack of a strong backer. After Luo Zhihua connected with the Wang family, he used the Wang family's connections to buy shares in the Shang family's company and frantically devoured the Shang group. But the Shang family couldn't fight back strongly and could only watch as their business was stolen step by step, ultimately leading to bankruptcy. All right, old man, you go prepare for the surgery first. Then go sign 3 copies of the life and death waiver. 1 copy for the hospital to keep, 1 for backup, and 1 for you guys to hold. Then record a video so you won't go back on your word later and come looking for trouble with me. Hearing this, the corner of Wang Teng's mouth twitched. He didn't expect this kid to change his tune faster than flipping a book. Just a moment ago, he was calling me Mr. Wang, and now I'm back to being old man. He angrily gritted his teeth and glared at me fiercely. Although he really liked this kid, he was also really good at pissing people off. I calmly handed over the 3 sheets of the surgical risk consent form. I also took out the latest pineapple phone and recorded a short video. After confirming the video and handwriting were clear, I waved my hand. All right, prepare for anesthesia and surgery. As Wang Teng was leaving, Shang Yue approached again. Xiaoming, have you performed surgery before? I frowned and said in a distant tone, Dr. Shang, I'm just a bastard child, unworthy of standing with a young lady like you. After saying that, I told Xinqi not to wander off and then also began my pre-surgery preparations. Shang Yue bit her lip, watching my retreating back, waves of bitterness rising in her heart. Taking a deep breath, she swore to herself she must obtain Xiaoming's forgiveness. Meanwhile, Wang Teng's identity had alarmed the traditional Chinese medicine hospital, and they had summoned all of their most professional medical staff to serve him. When they saw that the lead surgeon was a young man, they couldn't help but frown. However, I quickly used my professional skills to convince everyone present. Shang Yue, as the assisting nurse, watched in astonishment from inside the operating room the entire process of my surgery. My thinking was extremely clear, my technique was steady, as if I had performed tens of thousands of surgeries. Outside the operating room, Wang Zhuo paced back and forth anxiously, unable to stop for even a second. Little sister, do you think Dad's injury can be cured? Wang Lin's eyes were red-rimmed, and she choked out. I just sent Dad's x-rays to a doctor friend abroad to look at. Sent them to a doctor friend abroad to look at. He said that with the location of these 3 pieces of shrapnel, not touching them is the best option. With current medical technology, it's completely impossible to remove the shrapnel, but if he remains alive, the patient will have to endure every day a pain that ordinary people can hardly imagine. Wang Zhuo stood there, stunned. He couldn't bear to see his father die, but he also didn't want to see his father continue to suffer. His eyes immediately turned red. He knew that when his father decided to have the surgery, he had already made his choice. Xinqi sat with a straight back on the chair in front of the operating room door. Seeing the sad expressions of Wang Lin and Wang Zhuo, she hesitated for a moment, then took out 2 pieces of candy from her pocket. Uncle, Auntie, this is for you to eat. My brother bought this for me. My brother said he can definitely cure Grandpa's illness. Wang Lin took the candy. The tears in her eyes had long since started to fall. Big brother, Xiaoming can definitely cure our father. Wang Zhuo sighed and said, the location of the shrapnel in Wang Teng's body was very specific. When removing the shrapnel, just 1 millimeter of damage could cause the patient's death. With every movement of the scalpel, I was extremely cautious. Following 3 soft clinks, 3 pieces of shrapnel as large as a child's thumb were removed and placed on the tray. The most difficult part of the shrapnel removal was over. Next was just closing the wound. I never thought that performing a surgery could be so exhausting. The suturing speed was extremely fast, as if it had been practiced tens of thousands of times. The surgery quickly concluded to everyone's amazement. The operating room light finally went out. I was panting and sat down on the floor. Outside, when Wang Zhuo and Wang Lin saw the operating room door open, they immediately rushed in. Wang Zhuo's eyes were red-rimmed, and he knelt right down beside his father, sobbing. Meanwhile, Xinqi searched for my figure in the operating room. Seeing me drenched in sweat, sitting on the floor, she took out a tissue to wipe my sweat. Brother, are you okay? She asked with a pained expression. I shook my head and said with a mischievous smile, help me up quickly. I have to record this scene of filial piety. Wang Zhuo was slumped over Wang Teng's operating table, at first holding it back. Then he began to sob. I held my phone, recording wide shots, close-ups, and extreme close-ups, capturing all of Wang Zhuo's movements and expressions. Wang Lin was also very heartbroken, but seeing my actions, she glanced suspiciously at the equipment next to the operating table. Seeing the patient's heart rate continuously beating, an excited expression gradually appeared on her face. Xiaoming, was my father's surgery a success? Shh. I nodded gently. Seeing my reaction, Wang Lin's jaw dropped in astonishment. At this moment, Shang Yue brought the tray with the shrapnel closer. Wang Lin stared blankly at the tray, where the 3 thumb-sized pieces of shrapnel lay, and tears streamed down her face. She couldn't imagine if these shrapnel pieces were still in the body, what kind of torment he would have to endure every moment. This is a miracle in the history of medicine, Shang Yue praised, giving me a look full of admiration. After collecting enough video footage, I finally remembered to give Wang Zhuo a reminder. I patted his shoulder. Uncle, in 2 hours, he'll be able to see with his own eyes you mourning for him. Should I buy you 2 belts to wear in advance? Wang Zhuo wiped his tears and looked up at me doubtfully, thinking, how come I understand every word he says, but when put together, I don't quite get it. He looked over at Wang Lin, only to see that although her eyes were teary, she was wearing a gloating smile. Big brother, our father is fine. According to Xiaoming, he should wake up in about 2 hours, Wang Lin said with a smile. Hearing this, Wang Zhuo excitedly threw his arms around me. Thank you, thank you. The old man has suffered so much in his life. It was hard enough for him to see the country become strong and prosperous. I immediately winced in pain and yelled, I just finished surgery. These old bones of mine are about to be broken by you. Don't you know that men should keep their distance from each other? Wang Zhuo let go of me, scratched his head. Sorry, I was too excited just now. The old man needs to be hospitalized for observation for a few days. Will come again during these days. I looked up at the sky. It was getting late. Everyone should go eat soon. After speaking, I changed out of my surgical gown, went to Shinchi and asked, "Are you hungry?" Shinchi shook her head and took a milk candy from her pocket, placing it in my hand. I tossed the milk candy into my mouth and flicked her on the forehead, advising, "In the future, don't eat too many snacks before meals. If you don't eat properly, you won't grow tall." Shinchi is a bit malnourished right now. Her figure is a little thin. Her cold and fragile appearance is heartbreaking. She held her forehead, nodded, and smiled lightly. "He'll listen to you. Let's go. He'll take you to eat." Saying goodbye to the Wang family just after lecturing Shinchi about eating properly. But Jiangcheng at night is not a place where one can eat a proper meal. The roadside barbecue stalls were bustling with people, charcoal grilling beef and lamb, the enticing aroma captivating me. My gaze wavered a bit. I hesitated again and again, but finally stopped the car. Clearing my throat, I said, "Today, it'll take you out for a big feast first. As for eating properly, we'll start tomorrow." After a pause, I added, "Starting with you first." With that, I pulled Shinchi by the wrist to a roadside barbecue stall. I have to say, the grilled beef here, although not as high quality as steak, and the environment isn't like a restaurant, but barbecue should be eaten on the sidewalk, enjoying the night breeze and occasionally inhaling a few mouthfuls of car exhaust to get the right flavor. If you add a glass of 82 chilled soda, all the troubles and worries of the day will vanish instantly. Ding changed the original plot of the book, healed the wounds of a bloody battle. Reward, peak-level musical talent. I was munching on a specially marinated chicken leg when such a notification suddenly appeared in my mind. I glanced at the clock and guessed the old man had probably woken up. Could it be that changing the plot of other people can also grant rewards? Just now, I casually shook my head. Anyway, having money is my biggest highlight. As for other things, they are just bonus points. As a top-rich second generation of Jiang Cheng, a famous profligate young master, I don't need to learn any skills to please others at all. It's always been others who try to please me. When we got home, it was almost 10 p.m. "Xiaoming, you're back?" Hearing the door open, Yang Huifang looked up towards the door. I stealthily ducked my head guiltily, like a child who's done something wrong entering the living room. "Dad, Mom, you're not asleep yet?" I greeted them. Shinchi, tugging on my shirt, also greeted them in a small voice. Yang Huifang saw her expression and couldn't help but frown. Doesn't know how to study all day, just knows how to go out and fool around like a country bumpkin. Doesn't even know how to say hello when she gets home. No manners at all. She immediately looked at me and said gently, "Xiaoming, are you tired from playing outside today? I'll ask Auntie Wang to warm a glass of milk for you. It'll help you sleep better tonight." "Okay, warm one for Shinchi too." I turned and patted Shinchi's head. "Go to bed early tonight. I'll take you to school tomorrow. If I'm not up yet, remember to call me." Hearing that I would take her to school, Shinchi immediately nodded excitedly, a bright smile on her face, and went to her room to wash up. As for me, when I thought about how in the original story, Shang Zhiguo and Yang Huifeng always favored the original host, even when the Shang group collapsed, they still worried about the original host's future. But I'm not as heartless as the original host, able to comfortably enjoy their sacrifices without giving them any good attitude in return. At least when my parents are home, I want to do what a full-time son should do. I went behind my dad, intending to give him a Chinese-style massage. "Dad, your shoulders are so stiff. Work must have been tiring lately, huh?" Shang Zhiguo sighed softly. "I'm used to the company's matters. Why is Xiaoming so understanding today? Just tell Dad what you want. I can get you anything except the stars in the sky." I shook my head and replied, "It's really nothing. It's just. I feel that with Dad in charge at home, it's really great." Xiaoming has finally grown up. Shang Zhiguo sniffled, his eyes stinging a little. He sighed softly and said, "It's a pity your grandpa is gone. I don't have a father, so I can't feel what you're feeling. If your grandpa's spirit in heaven sees how sensible you are, he would surely be very happy." Shang Zhiguo sighed softly. Being told that, he also began to reminisce about his own father, and I nodded. "So, to let you feel a father's love again, I've specially found an adoptive father for you." "Ow, ow, ow, Mom, why didn't you stop Dad just now?" I whined mournfully. Right after I said I wanted to find an adoptive father for him, Shang Zhiguo immediately grabbed my leg, and I couldn't escape. I couldn't escape at all. I recalled that when the original host caused trouble before, Shang Zhiguo would do the same, grabbing the original host's leg in one go. But even though he was hit, Shang Zhiguo didn't hit hard. And moreover, he always helped the original host handle everything properly. "Who asked you to be so mischievous, daring to do such an earth-shattering thing, wanting to find a father for your father?" Yang Huifeng said with a laugh. I shook my head and said seriously, "This bargain grandpa of mine was carefully considered. I guarantee Dad will like him, and he can also help our Shang group reach new heights." "Humph, I only have one father. How could I possibly adopt someone else as a father?" Shang Zhiguo shouted from outside the door. "Dad, you said it, don't regret it. When you meet him, I'll tell him you don't think much of him." I shouted loudly. You think your father doesn't have that much backbone? How could I rush to let someone else be my father? You can call him right now, Shang Jiguo said firmly. Then don't ask me to put in a good word for you, I said with a huff. Shang Jiguo mumbled a few words and returned to his bedroom angrily. Although I didn't cause any trouble for the family this time, bringing home a father is also not okay. Young Huifeng's interest was piqued by me. She lightly patted my butt. Xiaoming, what does your adoptive grandpa do for a living? I gently pushed young Huifeng's shoulder. Mom, you should go to bed too. In 3 days, when the old man is discharged, he'll bring him over to our house. If I tell you now, how can I watch Dad get embarrassed then? Young Huifeng nodded. Then you have to know your limits. If the person is too bad, I won't be able to stop your father. I waved my hand, saw young Huifeng to the door, and wished her a good night. Just as I lay down on the bed, there was a light knock on my door. I got up suspiciously and opened the door. I saw that Shinchi had changed into a pink bunny-patterned pajama set, standing nervously at the door. Her face was flushed, and she suddenly reached out to hug me. Brother, thank you. Good night. After saying that, she immediately ran back to her room. I scratched my head, but the corners of my mouth couldn't stop turning up. This girl is so cute. I really don't know what the original host was thinking. Lying on the big, soft bed, I took out my phone, edited the song I had recorded earlier a bit, then posted it to my social media account on the Douyin platform, and then hugged my pillow and went to sleep. What I didn't know was, on the Douyin platform that night, popularity was quietly gathering. At the same time, Medical Research Institute of Daxia, over 10 doctors are watching a video over and over again. It's a video extracted from the surveillance camera in the operating room. The entire process of me operating on Wang Teng. A miracle. Truly a medical miracle. His technique is just too exquisite. Even if you gave me another 10 years, I couldn't master it. If he could remove the shrapnel from General Wang's body, then can the illnesses of the other generals be cured? Do you think he's a god? The other old generals are all relying on traditional Chinese medicine to convalesce, just barely holding on to their lives. Everyone has their own field of expertise. Without more than 10 years of practice, it's fundamentally impossible to have such a masterful technique. Where would he find the time to study traditional Chinese medicine? Those people are all for our daxia, who have achieved glorious military exploits. How can we let a novice treat them? But I heard, this chief surgeon is only 17 years old now. He has a sister who works at the traditional medicine hospital. I happen to know a little about his situation. The next morning, I was woken up by a soft knock on the door. I grabbed my phone, ruffled my messy bird's nest-like hair, and groggily opened the door. Shang Xinqi today was wearing a light pink shirt, and below it, a school-style pleated skirt. Her long, slender, chopstick-like legs were clearly visible. The messy hair on her forehead was clipped to one side with a small flower hairpin, revealing her fair forehead. "Brother, good morning." Her face flushed with shyness. She said timidly. She was afraid that after a night's sleep, I would revert to my old self. I reached out, wanting to pat Shang Xinqi's head, but then I remembered we had school today. She had clearly put a lot of effort into getting ready, so I pulled my hand back. But Shang Xinqi lowered her head and gently took a step forward. I patted the little head that was leaning in. "Let's have breakfast together. After eating, we'll go to school together." I stepped aside, letting Shang Xinqi into the dressing room to help me pick clothes. After what happened yesterday, I knew I shouldn't pick my own clothes. A top young master of Jiangcheng was dressed by me like a nouveau riche fool. Shang Xinqi entered my dressing room with a blushing face and chose a school-style outfit with a white shirt, tie, and black trousers. After changing, standing next to Shang Xinqi, it looked a bit like a couple's outfit. Arriving at the dining room, the maid didn't expect Shang Xinqi to come for breakfast. They hadn't prepared breakfast for Shang Xinqi at all. I scratched my head, feeling quite awkward. Before, it was because the original host said he didn't want to eat at the same table as Shang Xinqi. This led to Shang Xinqi, after returning to the Shang family, always eating their leftovers. Sometimes the original host would even throw the leftovers away, directly leaving Shang Xinqi to starve in her room. Shang Xinqi lowered her head, gently pursing her lips. She stood aside, a little flustered. "Auntie Wang, from now on, make an extra portion of breakfast for Xinqi. Heat up the traditional medicine I brought back yesterday. I need to take it with me later." I pulled Shang Xinqi's wrist and sat her down at the dining table, pulling the sumptuous breakfast between the two of us. I gestured for Shang Xinqi to eat with me, but Shang Xinqi was worried I wouldn't have enough to eat, so she didn't pick up her chopsticks. I frowned, decisively turned Shang Xinqi's head towards me, and fed her breakfast. A look of panic appeared on Shang Xinqi's face. Her cheeks flushed as she said, "I can eat by myself." But I looked at Shang Xinqi and said with a smile, "My silly top student sister, you have to eat a little more. Train diligently and stay healthy. In the future, your good-for-nothing brother will have to rely on you." After breakfast, I switched to a brand-new Ferrari and drove Shang Xinqi to school. Yesterday, I only remembered to buy her clothes. At the bottom of the school bag she was carrying, you could see small holes on both sides. Shang Xinqi shyly hid her bag behind her back, sitting bolt upright in the passenger seat drinking her traditional medicine. Although the medicine had a lot of cane sugar and honey, it still had a strange taste when she drank it. While waiting at a red light, I took a few lychees out of my pocket and put them in her hand. I knew the medicine would be hard to drink, so I brought this for you, I said with a smile, looking at the lychees in her hand. Shang Xinqi bit her lip lightly. Is this what it feels like to be cared for by someone? She peeled a lychee for herself and put it in her mouth. The sweet, clear juice burst out. The unique aroma of the lychee instantly spread throughout her mouth. This was the first time she had ever eaten a lychee. She peeled another lychee, and while waiting at the red light, she poked my hand. I took the lychee and put it in my mouth. My eyes immediately lit up. In my previous life, the type of lychee I ate the most was the Fei Zi Xiao. Their taste was very different. Some were so sweet they were bitter, while others were sour and astringent. But the sweet, clear taste of this lychee, with a hint of osmanthus fragrance, had thick and crisp flesh, juicy, and the seed was extremely small. This is the best lychee I've ever eaten in 2 lifetimes. Do you know what kind of lychee this is? When the time comes, tell Mom to buy some more for my room, I asked casually. Shang Xinqi thought for a moment and said, I think it's called Guai Lu. I heard Mom mention it once. My hand on the steering wheel suddenly trembled. Guai Lu is known as the Rolls-Royce of lychees. I remember in my past life seeing a single Guai Lu lychee being auctioned off for the sky-high price of 500,000 yuan. I swallowed and said, did I just eat half a house? Shang Xinqi also looked at the lychee in her hand in amazement. She took out her phone to check the price and sighed in relief and said, this kind is about 1,000 yuan per jin. The quality Mom buys should be a bit better, so the price might be a bit higher. I nodded. Gritting my teeth, I said, damn capitalism. Give me another one. Let me see if a lychee that costs several dozen yuan can make me ascend to heaven after eating it. In total, we brought out 6 lychees. I ate 2, and Shang Xinqi ate 2. She saved the remaining 2 to give to a classmate. The Ferrari quickly drove to the gate of Jiangcheng High School. I greeted the guard at the gate and drove straight into the school grounds. The guard looked at me in astonishment. Previously, this young master always arrived close to the lunch break. It was only 7:40 right now. After parking the car, I yawned and walked with Shang Xinqi towards the classrooms. Her class was Class 1 and mine was Class 10. The 2 classrooms were on different floors, one above the other. I patted Shang Xinqi's head, said goodnight, and turned to go to my classroom. I had just slumped onto my desk to nap when my desk mate tapped the desk. He said excitedly, Brother Ming, was the person who brought you to class your girlfriend? Such a beautiful girl. Why have I never seen her before? Bringing your girlfriend to school? No wonder you came so early today. I looked up in confusion at my slightly chubby desk mate in front of me. I thought about the plot related to him. The fatty's name was Zhou Tong. In the original story, he was one of the few people who, after the original host's downfall, still chose to help the original host. But Zhou Tong's family was not well off. When he helped the original host always thought he was humiliating him and treated him coldly. Sometimes he even resorted to violence. I raised my eyebrows and joked, Fatty, that's my biological sister. Don't you get any ideas about her? Otherwise, don't blame me for pulling out the weeds by the roots. Zhou Tong gave a forced laugh. Brother Ming, I thought you had finally given up on Jiang Ying. Speaking of Jiang Ying's name, I suddenly remembered. The reason the original host came to school every day was just to see Jiang Ying once. He couldn't wake up in the morning, so he gave Zhou Tong a sum of money and asked him to bring breakfast to Jiang Ying every day. In the original story, Jiang Ying always looked down on the useless and incompetent original host. Every time the original host wanted to give her something, he would have to put on a smiling face for a long time before she would accept it. If she had just rejected him outright, it would have been fine. But Jiang Ying would occasionally give the original host a glimmer of hope, encouraging him not to give up. Over the past year, the things the original host gave to Jiang Ying, big and small, added up to over 500,000. Fatty, how much money do I have left with you? I asked. The original host was truly a simp, but he wasn't seriously ill or anything. The money he worked hard to get from his parents, on what basis did he have to spend it obsequiously on others? Zhou Tong took a wad of cash out of his pocket. Brother Ming, this is all the money that's left. I frowned. I counted the money. There was about 2,000 left. Didn't I give you 30,000 at the beginning of the semester? How is it that only half the semester has passed and you've already spent over 20,000 on breakfast? Does she eat Guailu lychees every morning? Zhou Tong looked at me with a puzzled expression, asked in a low voice, Brother Ming, do you really not like Jiang Ying? I like her my ass, I said angrily, suddenly seeing the breakfast in Zhou Tong's desk. I snatched it. My sister didn't even eat enough this morning, yet she's eating so well. After saying that, I stood up and went upstairs. There were still 10 minutes until the morning self-study session. Most students were eating breakfast while memorizing their lessons. Next to Shang Xinqi sat a girl who was breaking off half a steamed bun to give to her. I directly snatched the bun, stuffed it in my mouth, and said with a smile, So this is what you usually eat for breakfast. The girl frowned, her sparkling eyes glaring at me. Brother, Why are you here? Shang Xinqi said in surprise. She looked at the girl beside her and introduced, Brother, this is Liu Yue. Liu Yue looked at Shang Xinqi with confusion. She had no idea Shang Xinqi had a brother. I nodded at Liu Yue. Hey, here's a nutritious breakfast for you girls. I placed a fully loaded sandwich on the table. The rich aroma instantly spread through the classroom. Everyone's eyes turned to look. Liu Yue looked at the sandwich and couldn't help but swallow. You girls eat up quickly. Don't disturb other people's studies. I turned my head and instructed. Shang Xinqi nodded and pushed half of the sandwich into Liu Yue's hand. Before, when she didn't have breakfast to eat, it was always Liu Yu who shared half of her own breakfast with her. Today, she could finally return the favor. I took the 2,000 yuan in loose change from Fatty and stuffed it into Shang Xinqi's hand. This is your pocket money. If you don't want to use the card I gave you, then just use this for now. This afternoon, I have to help Senior Xiaoyu move, so I can't have lunch with you. I pinched Shang Xinqi's cheek. Treat your friend to something nice for lunch today. Don't be afraid to spend money. If you're too stingy, don't blame me for punishing you tonight. Shang Xinqi's face immediately turned bright red. She lowered her head and nodded gently. I know. After that, I turned to go back to my class. But before I even reached the door, a commotion immediately broke out. Zhou Tong, didn't we tell you to bring breakfast? What kind of job are you doing? Are you trying to starve us? We gave you this one small task and you couldn't even do it. Do you believe we'll say a word to Sheng Ming and have him cut ties with you? Hearing the noise, I stood at the classroom door and coughed loudly twice. I yelled, What the hell are you all doing? Walking through this whole building, your class is the only one that's this noisy. Damn it, do you have any shame? Don't you even care about face anymore? At this, all the students in the class looked up at me. All of them had surprised expressions. Did the sun rise in the west? How could they see me in broad daylight? The classroom fell silent again. I quietly returned to my seat. I woke up too early this morning and couldn't help but let out a long yawn. All the students then came to their senses and nodded, so he came to school to catch up on sleep. That's why he didn't allow them to be too noisy. Hey, Xiangming, are you going to deal with this or not? The task you gave to Zhou Tong, telling him to bring us breakfast every day. He didn't bring it this morning. Is he trying to starve us? If Zhang Ying doesn't eat enough, what if she can't concentrate in class this morning? A girl with a rat-like face loudly questioned. The girl's name was Zhao Lin. She was Zhang Ying's best friend. Usually, she relied on her relationship with Zhang Ying to demand quite a few benefits from me. She looked at Zhou Tong and ordered, While there are still 5 minutes left, you better go outside the school and buy us some breakfast. We want the rice balls from that shop outside the school. Get 2 assorted ones. Zhou Tong glanced at me, let out a soft sigh, and stood up, about to head to the door. I put a hand on his shoulder to stop him and turned to question Zhao Lin. Why do I remember that I only said to buy breakfast for Jiang Ying? Is your face that big? Why do you want a free meal too? If you don't have money to eat, kneel and kowtow to me twice. Maybe you'll be merciful and grant you a couple bites of food. Choked by my words, Zhao Lin's face immediately flushed red. She tried to argue. Ying Ying is watching her figure. She eats very little. I just don't want to be wasteful, so I help her eat the rest. I had an epiphany. So you're just someone who eats other people's leftovers. Then I suddenly slammed the table, stood up, and shouted, Zhou Tong is my brother. Who the hell are you? What were you barking about just now? Do you really think I, Shang Ming, don't have a temper? Being yelled at by me like that? Zhao Lin's already flushed face now looked like it was about to drip water. She gritted her teeth and threatened, Shang Ming, don't even think about me helping you pass messages to Ying Ying anymore. I scoffed contemptuously. If it were the original host, he might have cared. But I just want to get back everything that belongs to me. That's 500,000 yuan. If it were like my previous life, I might not have saved that much even after 10 years of work. Jiang Ying, who had been standing on the sidelines, frowned unhappily and said, Shang Ming, Zhao Lin is my best friend. If you treat my best friend like this, how can I believe you'll treat me well in the future? I think we shouldn't contact each other anymore. And to think I actually thought you were a good person. I was thinking we could try dating after graduation. Hearing this, I looked Jiang Ying up and down. Her skin was fair and translucent, with delicate features. In terms of appearance, she was indeed very beautiful. But in terms of beauty, she couldn't compare to Liu Xiaoyue. Compared to Shang Xinqi, she was a world apart. Moreover, Zhang Ying's figure was rather lacking. Compared to Liu Xiaoyue's curvy figure, she was really far behind. Noticing my gaze on her chest, Zhang Ying couldn't help but cover her chest in disgust and take 2 steps back. Shang Ming, I'm talking to you. Are you listening? Hurry up and apologize to my best friend, then buy her a little gift as compensation. Otherwise, I won't pay any attention to you for this entire week. Looking at Jiang Ying in front of me, I slapped myself across the face. If I didn't possess top-tier medical skills, I would have wanted to go to the hospital to check if there was a tumor growing in my head. That was a loud slap. Is Shang Ming apologizing so sincerely? The young master of the Shang group slapped himself to apologize. Ying Ying's charm is really something else. All the students looked at me in shock. Zhou Tong grabbed my wrist. He originally thought I had come to my senses, but unexpectedly, I was still that same old simp. Brother Ming, At most, we'll just be late for the first period. You go buy those rice balls from that shop right now. I held Jo Tong's shoulder down with one hand. The original host would have trampled on the friendship between you two, but I won't. Right now, I'm thinking of taking Jo Tong to get some revenge. In case something unexpected happens in the future, I might have a hidden treasure. I shifted my gaze back to Zhang Ying. Remembering the money spent on her over the past year, she looked like a walking 500,000. I feigned a deep, emotional tone and said, Ying Ying, you know, I've liked you for a very long time. But you've never given me any kind of answer. I don't want to wait anymore. I'm afraid that you'll leave me after the college entrance exams. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.